WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Looking ahead to the Preds and the Avalanche coming up in Game 2 tonight. Puck drop at 8:30, pregame at 7:30 here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We already have people on the text line asking if Chase McCabe is single. So, just throwing that out there.
Yes, I am.
Chaser.
Just throwing it out there.
That is true.
I'm the messenger on the text line.
Well, all right. I
Chase
appreciate
is
that.
blushing.
I just want to make sure we can get him to blush before 6:30, and mission accomplished, ladies and gentlemen.
This was Robby and I's plan, Chase.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Is Beasley really asking if Jason Fitz and Jared Stillman share the same boosters?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Beasley, you're one to talk, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, buddy. Jason, I think this game, obviously from the simple aspect of trying to stay alive in the series and come back here with a 1-1 series tonight is crucial for the Predators. That goes without saying. To me, it's more than that, though. It's when I talked about this to start the show, I was really disappointed in the way that they came out the other night. I thought there's not much pressure on the Predators in this series. You know, nobody's giving them a chance to win. And I thought they were 2 steps slow the other night. It looked like they were skating through quicksand. And that was very disappointing to me. Now, you brought up an interesting point earlier about the style of play. Has that worn them down? And it was a condensed schedule this year. You know, there was the Olympic break that never really happened because of the COVID stuff and the NHL players not going to the Olympics. So they got a little bit of a break in there, but not much. And then it was condensed coming down the stretch. And with their style of play, the way that John Hines wants them to play, it requires them to be at or near their top level in terms of energy. And I think the herd line could be a good example of this. They hadn't looked the same over the last month.
They're gassed.
And I don't know. They could be. They might be gassed. So maybe it's just as simple as that. But I just wasn't very impressed with the fight the Predators put up, especially in the first part of that game the other night. And to me, that's important tonight. Like, I have no clue what the result of tonight's game is going to be. Obviously, Colorado is the favorite. And if Colorado plays like they did the other night, I think it's just going to be hard for the Predators to keep up. But you helped them way too much the other night, and you can't do that tonight. And to me, that's important not only now in this series, but trying to figure out where this team is in the long term. You know, we did discuss this yesterday on Jared versus Joe. How exactly do you feel about this group right now? Do you feel like they're close to competing? Do you feel like that they're a team that's on the rise? Because I think you ask different Preds fans that same question, you'll have different responses as to how they view this team. And if you come out and you just lay down the rest of this series, it's not going to be a good look for me.
Well, there are a lot of things here because you brought up the roster. There's some roster moves that probably need to be made. Number one on the list is obviously re-signing Philip Forsberg. You have to get that done because if you don't, then I think that completely changes your offseason strategy because you're losing your best offensive player, your best forward. So you certainly would have to address that. But let's say that you do bring him back. What's missing is what's been missing for a long time. They don't have a second line, true second line. They've been great at figuring out the first line, but they need a second line winger that can be a goal scorer. And right now, I think it's a miss on Eeli Tolvanen because Eeli Tolvanen has shown you a glimpse that he can be that, but that's it. He's out of the lineup. He's not even playing right now. We'll see if they put him back in tonight. I would consider it, but at the same time, like, what's he going to do? He hasn't really done anything for you from a goal scoring standpoint. So you got to find a second line forward that can score goals for you, where you're not putting everything on Duchesne, Forsberg, Johansson. You got to give Granny Apple some help from that sense, or whoever is centering the second line, whether you're alternating Johansson and Granlund or not. So that's one part of it. I think Phil Tomasino is on his way to potentially being that, but you still need another one. Like you're going to have to to have somebody else to pair with him, and it doesn't appear to be Tolvanen. And what, to your point, I do think the herd is worn down. I think that's one reason why you saw Olivier in the lineup and why they're trying that, because they just got to have a little more oomph in the lineup because the herd is gassed. I think that's just the best way to put it. This team is not deep enough to run them into the ground like they have. And so I certainly think that depth is going to be looked at. And, we'll have plenty of time for the offseason discussion, but there are some players in the pipeline that I'm curious about because I think they do fit this style. Igor Afanasyev is one of them that I think could certainly help you moving forward, but that does nothing for you tonight. Well,
and tonight, you've got lineup decisions to make if you're John Hines. We talked about the goalie part of this. Honestly, I'd be – I will use the word. I think I'd be shocked if it's not Connor Ingram tonight.
Yeah, I'd go Ingram.
And I know, there's people that will say it wasn't all on David Riddick in the first game, and I agree with that to a certain extent. Like, I thought the Predators were pretty bad in front of him. But then you start to take a deeper look at some of the fancy stats out there. I think Adam Vingan put this out there yesterday, and it was 0.87 expected goals in game one. He gave up 5. That was you can't have that. So
right.
I'd be shocked if it's not Connor Ingram starting tonight in game 2. You brought up the other lineup decision that I think is really interesting. Like if this was the first round against Calgary, I would expect Matthew Olivier to be in there because you know what that series is going to be. It's going to be physical. It's going to be a bloodbath out there. And, this series, I'm not saying that Colorado's not physical because I think they can play that way, but it's not the same. And Tolvanen was a scratch in game 1. Is he in there in game 2? I think there's a chance he will be. Now, is that going to make a huge difference based on his production this year? Maybe not, but I'm interested to see where they go in that direction tonight because what you can't have happen, like I know that everybody for the most part was pretty bad the other night. The Johansson line didn't have a shot on goal. Not one shot on goal from Johansson, Cunnin, and Tomasino the other night. And you just can't have that in the playoffs. It's part of what you talked about with the second line. When you've got Granlund, Forsberg, and Duchesne out there, who I know Duchesne scored twice the other night. Nobody was good the other night, but they were probably the best that you had the other night. Like, you got to get something from that second line. And at this point, if it's me, I'd probably at least rather lean towards the potential of that happening with Tolvanen out there than I would be with Olivier because this just doesn't seem like a Matthew Olivier type series to me.
No, I agree with you. I would give Tolvanen a chance, and I'd look at the defense too. I mean, how close is Lazan? I know he skated.
Yeah.
So how close is he? Because he could certainly – I don't think it could hurt at this point, throwing him in there. So I certainly think that's something they have to look at. But, yeah, I would go Connor Ingram simply because what do you got to lose at this point? You talk about no pressure. I mean, he go out there and just play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly what you're asking him to do.
He was really good the other night.
I think he was too. I mean, he let in a couple, but, again, that was the theme of the game. It wasn't all on him. I mean – The air was out of the balloon at that point.
Well, and it's 5-0, so you're probably not getting the same sort of intensity level from the Avalanche as they were to start that game. I recognize that. But, the first one he gave up was kicked into his own net by Borowiecki, and the second one was an absolute missile from Nathan McKinnon. So, all in all, I thought he played pretty well the other night.
So, I would do that because David Riddick, nice guy. He's just not what you need in the playoffs.
No.
I mean, you signed him to truly be a backup, and that's another area that I think if Connor Ingram had not had his situation last year, he's probably the backup. They probably wouldn't have signed David Riddick after Pekarine's retirement, and I think you saw signs of that earlier in the season when Riddick was out with COVID. That hey, this is what it's probably going to look like in the future with Connor Ingram backing up UC Saros, but there's no time like the present to see what you got in that department because, from the small sample size that I've seen of Connor Ingram, it makes me think, hey, you know what? I think he can be a solid goaltender in this league. Maybe not a starter, every night, but he could certainly be a backup and spell Saros when you need him to. So see what you got starting tonight.
Kelton on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, is Forsberg going to show up in the playoffs for this series? As Jared says, big boy forwards. This is where you get that fat contract. It's coming from Kelton on the text line.
I know they lost 7-2, but the 2 goals were scored by Matt Duchene. So, you can make the argument that Duchene has shown up to this point, even though I don't know if anyone really showed up the other night for the Nashville Predators. But it's a valid point because
Forsberg was way too invisible the other night.
He was, and he has been streaky. He's been a little hit or miss and a lot of miss towards the end of the season. Now he got over that 40-goal mark, but with all the talk with him and a big payday and the contract, you need him to show out in the playoffs. And I know that his camp may look at it as we're not, we've paused negotiations, but the playoffs, we won't worry about that. But if you're the Predators, you're monitoring. I mean, that's certainly going to factor into what you want to do. So I agree, and it starts tonight. I think that first line needs to be the trendsetter for the Nashville Predators. They need to dictate how this game is going to go, and it starts with 9.
We got more of your thoughts to get to on our text line on the Preds, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. The best and worst things in sports for this week coming up at 6:45 as well. All that ahead, you're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashwell.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Tired of mosquitoes ruining your summer? Stop the bite. Go to tiredofmosquitoes.com and check out your special offer. Take back your summer. Go to tiredofmosquitoes.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Nashville's Anheuser-Busch distributor, Ajax Turner Company, is hiring Class A drivers and driver trainees who will obtain their Class A license through the company's very own driver training and testing program for free. Be home every day and off on weekends while earning competitive wages and receiving benefits like medical and life insurance, paid time off, 401k, and supplemental insurance programs. Apply at ajaxturner.com/career or call 615-280-3904. Anheuser-Busch reminds you to drink responsibly.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Mobil 1 Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Got an older vehicle? Try Mobil 1 Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
As a mom, you have to plan for everything. But I never planned on my health plan at work costing so much to cover my family. Fortunately, with more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau health plans help me get family-friendly coverage for a lot less. So I can focus on raising my kids, not my premiums.
Ouch, Mom!
Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Hey y'all, it's Caroline Fenton, and I want to tell you about my friends over at 312 Pizza Company. 312 Pizza is my favorite place in town. It's family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style, always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesday and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 or head to 312pizzaco.com to order. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Curation CBD is a local family-owned business started and grown right here in Middle Tennessee. Curation's mission is to provide the community with locally and organically sourced CBD products for everyday use. Curation means healing, and their CBD products will do just that. Curation CBD is a certified Tennessee product and is available at the Painted Tree in Franklin. Or visit them online and order now on their website at curationcompany.com. Use promo code DDC25 at checkout for 25% off Curation CBD. Curation, CBD products curated for life.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. you might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
The Sounds. Play ball. Deep left center by White. Back is Contreras looking up, and that ball is gone.
The Nashville Sounds continued their series against Norfolk at First Horizon Park.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. The Game. Chase
Cane?
McCabe. Yeah, the Cane. I was going to say Chase McCabe. 102.5 The Game. Chase McCabe is in for Joe Rexrode today. He does not have a cane.
No, I don't.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah. A lot of thoughts about Chase and his singleness on the text line, though.
This
so
song
could be a big day for you.
This song brings back great memories for me because this was the theme song to a great show called The Cheap Seats back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
With yours truly and Ryan Porth.
Oh, what a show that was.
That was great. Rob Stanley was on that show quite a bit.
Oh, the good old days.
I think you had hair then.
Yeah, minimal. Minimal amounts of hair. Will in Kentucky texting in says Ingram starts and the Preds win 4-3 tonight. Ty texting in says seeing these teams that got blown out in game 1 come back and win game 2, does that encourage the Preds tonight? We talked about that a little bit earlier. It is the Stanley Cup playoffs. Momentum is a thing, but a lot of times that changes game to game, and we certainly saw that throughout the league last night with the exception of Carolina taking on Boston. And look, I'll go ahead and throw this Call Your Shot Thursday out there tonight. I can almost guarantee you it's not going to be as bad for the Predators tonight as it was in game 1. If it is, got some serious problems.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's going to be – I'm not going to call win or lose. You know, I'm not gonna say they're going to win or lose necessarily, but – I think it'll be a much closer game, and we'll see. I mean, hell, overtime wouldn't even surprise me. You know, if that's what which you do not want.
8:30 starts, love it. Give me some overtime.
We do not want that.
Oh, we know it's going to happen at some point.
For all of us, yeah, 3 overtimes again. Like it's been a few years since we've had that, but yeah, and this team historically has bounced back. I mean, it's funny you bring up momentum and how momentum does exist in the playoffs. I remember any mention of that word around Peter Laviolette, and you just got a bristle. I mean, he didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to talk about it. And I believe it is a thing, but I also believe that confidence is a thing. And this team doesn't have a lot of confidence right now, so they got to find that. They got to get that back. Now, I was encouraged because contrary to what a lot of people say, I think a lot of people after a loss like that, you know, when the players speak, they want you to be down in the dumps and like feeling sorry for yourself. I don't. I want to bounce back. And I thought yesterday some of the comments from some of the players, you could tell that they literally went back to the hotel room, threw it in the toilet and flushed it. And that's really all you could do at that point. And so I would much rather see a more upbeat group, even though they just got their you-know-what handed to them the night before, because that tells me that, all right, they are looking forward. They're not looking back because there's nothing you can do about Tuesday night. Now you got to focus on tonight.
Well, and it's time to show a little fight to start the game and keep it within the bounds of the rules. Yeah. And you got to take care of the puck. That's the thing against this Colorado team. I thought Colorado did an outstanding job in game 1 of making the right decisions with the puck. And when you have a team as skilled as they are, I think a lot of times it's easy to try to force things and come in the zone and without dumping it and just try to take it in there. And I thought Colorado, they took what the Predators gave them. When they didn't have anything, they made the right decision with the puck. And that's the way the Predators have to play. I mean, you've got to when you don't have, open lanes to enter the zone, it sounds boring and a lot of people hate it, and I understand it, but you got to dump the puck in and go get it. I mean, that's the way the Predators have to play if they're going to be successful in this series. And yes, it requires an energy level that I didn't see in game 1, and you got to see that in game 2. We talked about this yesterday, Chase, and I don't think it's going to happen because, I mean, at this point, you're in game 2 of the playoffs. I doubt you're going to shake things up that much. But the herd line's going on a month now where they've just not really been all that effective. Yeah. And, we've heard Darren McFarland talk about this, moving Jeannot up. I mean, I think John Hines has been very hesitant to do that. But at some point, like if the herd line, and this is not just a game 1 thing, it's been this way for the last 3-4 weeks with the herd line where they're not having the impact on games that they were having. I do wonder if there's any point where, and maybe it's in the middle of a game tonight, where you consider moving a Jeannot or a Trennan up with Johansson to give maybe a different look to that second line as well. Because I've said this once, and I'll say it again now, Luke Cunnin is not a top 6 forward, and they keep trying to put him in the top 6, and it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It won't work moving forward. And to me, that's just not a good option for them to have in the top 6 right now.
You bring up a really good point, because this is something that has driven me nuts for the last few years, going back to Peter Laviolette and with John Hines. And I'm sure they're not the only team that does this, but how many times did they fall back and go put Jofa back together? Because, we don't want to break them up because they're the only thing that we got and it's working. It's like they don't give any other combinations time to gel. Now, you're in the playoffs. You don't really have time now. But, there were a couple of times this year that they did experiment, moving, like we're talking about, moving some things around. But it didn't work right away, so they went back to it. It's like, oh, no, I gotta go back over here to the herd. Okay, let's put them back together. And I thought when they put Olivier back in the lineup, all right, you're going to put the OG herd together, and you'll move Jeannot up. But that's not what they did. They tried to get 2, energy lines, so to speak, with the third and the fourth line. So I would definitely look at it, because I think either Trennan, Trennan's an interesting thought. Either Trennan or Jeannot could certainly give you a little bit of that, in vinegar, while being able to score goals at the same time alongside Johansson. I like that idea. They're not going to do it, but I still like that idea.
Well, and regardless of what the lineup looks like, I mean, we talked about heading into the series. If you're the Predators, the advantage that you have in this series is you're supposed to be the more physical team. Now, I think people have kind of overblown the Colorado aspect of this and think that they're just, like the 2016 Penguins out there, and they're just all small and fast. And that's not the case. I mean, Burakovsky's a big guy. McKinnon's a big guy. They've got some players back there that have some size to them. But you never really established that physicality there. Now, I understand when you're down 3-0 in the first 6 minutes of the game, it's hard to establish physicality at that point because you're chasing the game. So that's the number one thing tonight. You can't get down that early in the game and start chasing it that way. But they never got to the physical part of their game the other night, and that can't happen in the series. If you're going to give yourself a chance, you've got to impose your will and more often than not play the game the way that you want to play it and not get suckered into playing Colorado's game.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree with that they got to do. You got to be true to yourself at some point. And like I said, if there's some magical light switch that they can flip on to go back to kind of how they were, 7-8 weeks ago, which I know doesn't really exist, but if they could find just a semblance of that, then this is going to be a different series. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to win it. You and I both said Colorado in 6.
Yep.
If they keep playing like they did the other night, this one's done Monday.
Yes.
I mean, this won't last very long. But again, I think there's going to be a bounce back. It's just, is the bounce back tonight enough to win you a game? Because if you come back to Nashville tied up at 1, then you can use it's the Stanley Cup playoffs, anything can happen. But, like I said earlier when we were talking about some of the other series, Carolina's going to win that series against Boston. You just can tell. You can just get a read out after 2 games that they are just by far the better team. And I don't think Boston has the horses to come back and beat them. We're going to see tonight. I think by the end of this game tonight, we're going to know, okay, can the Preds hang, or is this one ultimately going to be over?
Yeah. Are they about to get steamrolled? Like, that could be That certainly is on the line.
And I know you guys have talked about this, and we've talked about it in other shows, but all the pressure's on Colorado. And they didn't look like it the other night. They didn't look like they had any pressure at all.
Yeah.
So all the pressure's on Colorado, though, because they've been picked to win the Stanley Cup by a lot of people to this point. And the last couple of years, they've had a team capable of winning the Stanley Cup, and they haven't gotten to that point. And so I know Darren's been very outspoken that if they lose this series, Bednar's out. He probably gets fired, which I don't think he's wrong.
Probably.
I think there's certainly some truth to that. But, you gotta force the pressure on Colorado if you're Nashville starting tonight.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Preds throughout the show. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, it is time for the best and worst things in sports for this week. As always, we'll take your submissions on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. To celebrate summer concert season, get $25 all-in tickets to the more than 50 shows in the Nashville area for 1 week only. Text the keyword summer to the game text line at 615-737-1025 for your chance to win. The special offer runs now through May the 10th. You can get more info at livenation.com/concert week. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Do you have that one person or thing that just makes you mad? Join us every Friday at noon on the DDC for You Just Made the List. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution, and try Star Movie on the DDC on ESPN 1025 The Game.
You just made the list!
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Looking at partly cloudy skies this morning, scattered showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon, evening, and overnight, some of which could be strong to severe.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club, woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Attention, buckaroos! It's time for the Franklin Rodeo, so saddle up and hold on to your lasso. It's 3 days of bull riding, calf roping, western wear, funny clowns, and some of the most talented horses you've ever seen. Join the Stampede from May 19th to May 21st. The Franklin Rodeo is held at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park and is brought to you by Franklin Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Williamson Medical Center, Wesley Mortgage, and Event 1FX. Tickets on sale now at franklinrodeo.com. It's a buckin' good time.
Sheet Metal Workers Local 177 is looking for the next great skilled construction tradesman out there to join their apprenticeship program. If you're interested in commercial fabrication, ventilation systems, metal roofing, welding, and more, Smart Local 177 is the place for you. Get the extra training you need to excel in the career you've been waiting for. They offer great benefits, tuition-free, debt-free education, and job opportunities you can earn while you learn. Visit sheetmetal177.com or call 615-292-0587, an equal opportunity employer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good.
Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Daunic.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The best and worst of the sports week, now on Robby and Rexrode.
On ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And it is that time of the week, time for the best and worst things in the world of sports. As always, we'll take your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Now, Joe Rexrode usually kicks us off in this little discussion, but he's not here today. So Chase McCabe, our guest of honor, would you like to kick us off this week with your best and worst things in the world of sports?
I will. I'll kick us off. Excited to be here and be a part of this great segment. So I'm going to be the racing nerd for a second with my best.
Please do.
So the Hall of Fame voting took place yesterday, and they're at the point with the NASCAR Hall of Fame where they put the obvious names in. And now they're kind of going back and putting some people that deserve it, but they may not be the most well-known names. So one of the guys that was voted in yesterday is Kirk Shelmerdine. And for even the most diehard racing fans, you may not know who that is. But he was behind Dale Earnhardt. He was the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt for 4 of his 7 championships at Richard Childress Racing. He was the guy that invented the Flying Aces pit crew that Dale had in the late 80s and the 90s, really. And just a fantastic mechanic and a really good guy. He was a racer in his own right. And so I know a lot of the racing community was excited to see that he was getting the call to the Hall of Fame. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was really pushing for him because he had so much success with his dad. And so I thought that was really, really cool. So, again, a lot of people don't know who that is, but if you're a big Dale Earnhardt fan, he was a big reason why Dale Earnhardt was as successful as he was in the 90s.
The man behind the Intimidator.
Exactly.
I like it. Chase, your worst thing in the world of sports.
Okay, the worst thing. And I am curious of what both of you think about this, and I'm sure you have talked about it some, but Taylor Lewan, and we love Taylor Lewan. He is just a tremendous personality and a pretty good left tackle, too. But the other night,
according to most Titans fans,
the Predator, yeah,
probably not.
Thank you, Mike. The Predators tweet out that it's 2-0.
Yeah,
that's all it said. All the tweets said. And Taylor Lewan quote tweets it, "Hockey Town, let's go." And the Preds reply with, "Taylor, we're losing."
Yes.
Now, I initially seeing that, I'm like, come on, Taylor. Come on, dude. Like, you got to pay attention. What are you doing?
Check the phone, man.
Why aren't you watching the game? Like, don't just do that. And then I think about it, and I go, okay, a lot of people get information from Twitter. Is the Predators' Twitter account somewhat responsible? Because if it just says 2-0, I can understand the assumption that the Predators are winning. You know, that it's just that's all it says. Because you don't say 0-2. You don't. Know, unless you say down 0-2, like you could say that, but you don't say the score is 0-2 or 1-2. You say 2-0. So again, I got to put Simonis on Taylor Lewan that you got to be better. You got to check, but at the same time, does Pred's Twitter share a little bit of the blame?
I don't think so.
It was a bad situation, so that's why it's my worst.
Because I think, like, if you follow enough teams on Twitter, you know that when they score, they're going to be way more excited than 2-0.
Yeah.
Just out there.
There will be a video,
in a playoff.
a GIF, all of it.
So I put this one on Taylor.
And listen, Sarah does a tremendous job with the Twitter account.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's awesome. Like, so I'm not picking on her necessarily, but I think Pred's Twitter is
always funny.
To pick on Taylor is always fun. And to give him credit, even though this is my worst in sports, I will give him a ton of credit because he owned it.
He owned it. He did.
He owned up to it. He said, "I'm a loser." And I was watching that a couple of people, in the media quote tweeted him, and he responded. He's like, "I deserve every bit of this."
Oh yeah.
So kudos to you, Taylor, for taking one for the team there.
It was a nice, fun, kind of soft spot in an otherwise brutal game to watch the other night. I don't think there's any question.
And it snowballed. The funny thing was, at that point, it was 2-0, and then it just snowballed after that.
It's now 5-0, Taylor. And not for the Predators. Michelle Knesvik, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Okay, I'm going to start with my worst thing in sports. This was in the Warriors-Memphis basketball game the other night. It was the Dylan Brooks foul on Gary Payton. I'm sure a lot of people heard Steve Kerr's comments after the game. Obviously, we saw the Draymond foul in Game 1, which was a flagrant 2, and he got, ejected for that. This, I personally think, was way worse. But basically the foul is he's running up behind him and goes for the block, but kind of looks like he pushed him. Gary Payton ends up fracturing his elbow. So that was just really dirty. I think Steve Kerr's comments after the game really, represented. He's like, we signed a code of conduct. You never want to put a player's career in trouble. You play tough, but that was a little too dirty, and it just sucks for the Warriors. He's out. Sucks for, Gary Payton that he's also out of this series.
Not a great look for Dylan Brooks.
No. Yeah, no. Especially since Draymond, when I saw that play, I was like, he better get ejected because that is 10 times worse, I think, than the Draymond foul the night before or the game before.
Yeah.
But then my best in sports is actually Draymond Green, because in the same game, he got poked in the eye or something, and his eye was bleeding. And that's not the best part. Just keep listening, people.
Jeez.
I know.
All right.
Draymond was in pain. It's my best thing in sports.
That sounded really bad when it just came out. But he's walking, back into the locker room to get fixed up. And the Memphis crowd is cheering, and he just gives them the double birds. And I just thought that was amazing. And then his press conference afterwards, he was like, you know what? If they're going to cheer for me while I have blood running down my eyeball, I make $25 million a year. I can get fined. That's fine. I'll go make it up with an appearance. I just love the double bird. So shout out Draymond for that.
Honestly, the double bird, now you don't
underutilized.
You don't want to overuse it.
Yeah,
but it is underutilized. Like Bud Adams, the Bud Adams double barrel salute. Like, God rest his soul. I love that.
Hey, this Warriors-Grizzlies series may get a little spicy. Ja kind of looked at Steph Curry at the end of the game and was like, we're about to have some fun.
I love that matchup. But another worse in sports, the fact that there's not an NBA playoff game tonight. Like, I don't know what in the world's going on. Yeah, there's something wrong there.
It's
agreed.
It's incredible. All right, my best thing in sports, we've only really seen one instance of it so far, and it was a great one. Overtime playoff hockey. Especially overtime playoff hockey with crowds fully back in there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, obviously I was watching the Preds Avalanche game the other night, but my other screen was on Pittsburgh and New York in the triple overtime game. And, Malkin ends up scoring the game winner in the third overtime. But just the suspense that goes with overtime playoff hockey, I believe it's the best thing in sports. Like, with knowing that, the game could end with any shot at any moment. It's awesome. Overtime playoff hockey, my favorite thing in sports. So it's my best thing in sports for this week.
I love it. That's a good one.
Worst thing in sports, I got two things here. Number one is the Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis comment situation that I spoke about yesterday here on the program. It's so stupid. I think this is one of the dumbest stories ever. I talked about it yesterday. It's not Ryan Tannehill's job to mentor Malik Willis, and we'll get to more of this coming up here in just a few minutes. But I just thought it was so dumb that this blew up the way that it did. And honestly, I shouldn't be that surprised because it's Ryan Tannehill, and everything around Ryan Tannehill right now is going to blow up. But it was quite the story yesterday, and it's just – I think it's so stupid. Secondly, my second part of the worst thing in sports, Chase, have you watched the Cincinnati Reds try to play baseball this year? It's
I have.
They've won 3 games. They might end up winning like 26 games this year.
Yeah, they're awful.
Out of 162.
We love you, Porth.
They suck. Oh my goodness, are they awful?
Love you, Ricky. So the other night I was hanging out with Rick, and we were at a bar and had him change the channel, and they put it on a Reds game. He's like, "Oh, the Reds are playing," and like turned it on, and I was like, "Are they? Are they?
Is that what they're doing?" Oh man,
I mean, they basically have a double-A team out there right
it's
now. So
awful. I feel really bad for Joey Votto. Have fun this year, bud.
I don't. I don't feel bad for him at all.
He's getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that they're in the position they're in is because of that contract. I mean, as upset as I was about Freddie Freeman and that whole deal, I look at the Cincinnati Reds and go, well, okay, that's why.
Could be worse.
And I love Votto, but
shout out to Ryan Porth. Chris on the text line says, worst thing in sports was the regret I had Tuesday night after finishing that cup of coffee at 8 o'clock in preparation for the Preds game because I was left wide awake at midnight and had nothing to do but watch the Preds lose. Maybe tonight will be different, but no coffee this time. This is coming from Chris on the text line. So leaving the coffee out of it this time around. That's it's a bold strategy because if it's a good game, you might need that coffee.
Our text line is lit today.
It's lit.
Super lit. Always in the mornings. Right?
Somebody thinks you look like WWE superstar Sheamus, which
I'll take it.
I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
Give me some of that Sheamus money. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's a Preds fan. Preds season ticket holder.
Yeah, he is. We'll continue to take your thoughts, your submissions for your best and worst things in sports. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we will get into the Ryan Tannehill situation. We'll get Chase's thoughts on Tannehill's comments about not being his job to mentor Malik Willis. That's coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. One of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine prop bets from multiple games and now multiple sports as well. It's called Same Game Parlay Plus, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Combine NBA playoff player props you love with your favorite baseball home run hitters for a chance to score an even bigger payout, or maybe you like the hockey part of it with the Stanley Cup playoffs going on. So I'd go Tyler Hero over on points for the Miami Heat, and I would go Connor McDavid over on points for the Edmonton Oilers. But you take it any way you want to take it. If you don't want to build your own same-game parlay, check out their popular same-game parlay section where you can join the bets other users are jumping on. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Make every moment more and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code ROB so they know that I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Heads up. 106.3 FM is a new way to hear 102.5 The Game from downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and on I-24 to Murfreesboro.
Make sure you have that preset on your radio dial.
We're making it even easier to listen to Nashville's best sports talk.
This is going to be awesome. It's like, yes.
Tune in to 106.3.
That's what makes this team better.
And hear the difference.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
We've all heard the saying that a little can go a long way. This is especially true during the Big Payback's 24-hour online giving event, helping support hundreds of local nonprofit organizations. From 6 p.m. on May 4th through 6 p.m. on May 5th, a gift as little as $10 could be boosted by cash prizes and help to make a big difference in the life-changing work of local nonprofits. Find out more at thebigpayback.org.
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Seriously, it's the same commercial every time.
All right.
Okay? There's 4 major points that we need to make.
Yes, sir.
Good customer service.
All right.
Good quality vehicles.
Check. Got it.
We've been in business since 1987.
87, right.
And we can finance anyone on any car.
Wow. A fiddle player? Any car? How's this? Franklin Motors. The choice is clear. Franklin Motors.
Your ride is here.
FranklinMotorsTN.com or come on by for a test drive.
I'm Pablo Torre, host of ESPN Daily, where every morning we present the best sports story of the day. And ESPN Daily is presented by Supercuts. Supercuts is the perfect way to get a haircut if you're someone who doesn't have time for a haircut. You just check in on the Supercuts app or you walk in for a quality cut. The highly trained stylists at Supercuts can always give you that fresh cut feeling fast. And it's not just any haircut, it's Supercuts. Check in now on the Supercuts app or on supercuts.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, hour number 2 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Chase in for Joe Rexrode for the next couple of days. Joe's out conquering new lands. I don't really know what he's doing, but we'll see him back on Monday. A lot of people are angry at Joe this week that he was a little bit more hostile on the text line. The A.J. Brown thing, I think, has really upset Rexrode.
That's probably the most upset that I have heard Joe Rexrode. It's been an interesting couple of days because Willie Daunic was on one yesterday.
He's fired up yesterday.
Defending Tannehill. And Rexrode has been mad at the Titans for trading A.J. Brown. I like it. I like where we're at. Need more of that. That was good.
It was Willie was fired up yesterday. I was
He
like,
was.
man, this is not Coach Willie.
No.
This is Big Willie D yesterday.
So, and I know we're gonna get into this, but I get it. You know, I think that having that kind of passion and opinion is a good thing, and so I was glad to hear that from Willie. I didn't agree with everything he said, but for the most part, okay, I get it. And Rexrode, I disagree with. I know you love A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's a heck of a player, but you got to the point where you had to do what you had to do.
So let's get your thoughts on this, because we talked a lot about this yesterday on the show. The comments from Ryan Tannehill saying, I don't think it's my job to mentor Malik Willis, but if he learns from me during the process, all that, that's great. That's basically what the discussion was yesterday with Tannehill. And look, I saw all this circulating around. Honestly, when I was watching the press conference live, he said that, and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. Because – and I pointed this out yesterday. This is not a new thing with NFL quarterbacks, and I think some people immediately tune me out when I say this because they think I'm comparing Ryan Tannehill to Tom Brady and Brett Favre as players. It's not what I'm doing. But the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers in the first round to come in and be his replacement, and Brett Favre was like, "Yeah, that's great. It's not my job to groom Aaron Rodgers to come in here and take my job. It's my job to be the starting quarterback of the Packers and to win games." Tom Brady wanted zero part of mentoring Jimmy G. In fact, actively undermined Jimmy G and got him out of there is what happened in New England. So this is not a new thing with NFL quarterbacks. I think it's really stupid that people are making a big deal out of this, but I know not everybody agrees with that. So what are your thoughts on Tannehill's comments with Malik Willis?
Well, let's set the stage because, one, I just want to hear Jared ask the question so he can talk about how he asked the question again. But let's set the stage with how this came to be.
Ultimately, probably his goal is to take your job.
I mean, that's part of being in a quarterback room in the same room. We're competing against each other. We're watching the same tape. We're doing the same drills. I don't think it's my job to mentor him, but if he learns from me along the way, then that's a great thing.
So the interesting part in this, how Jared asked the question was, basically your thoughts on a guy being drafted and his goal is to eventually take your job.
Yep.
There was nothing about mentoring or any of that. Ryan Tannehill went out of his way to say, hey, I'm not here to mentor the guy. So that's why he's, I think, getting beat up for it, because That wasn't really the spirit of the question. It was more of a competition thing. At the same time, I don't have a problem with it. It's not his job to mentor Malik Willis. His job is to compete to be the starting quarterback for the Titans, which there is no quarterback competition. Let's just be very clear here. Going into training camp, the only quarterback competition that there might be is for the backup role.
Yep.
It's not for the starting role. This is Ryan Tannehill's team, at least for this year. And guess what? If he goes out and he has that chip on his shoulder like he did when he first got here and he balls out, he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. They're not going to move on from him. They'll figure the contract part out. It's all about performance, though, for Ryan Tannehill. And I actually think this is a good thing. The fact that he's kind of made the heel turn a little bit, that people are mad at him, and he goes out of his way to say he's not here to mentor a guy, and you got Kurt Warner saying, get in my DMs and I'll come mentor you. Yeah. Like, okay. I don't think that's a bad thing for Tannehill to kind of have that chip and be the quote-unquote bad guy now for Titans fans to look at. I think that could be more of a motivation. But at the end of the day, I don't have an issue.
They're literally talking about this on Good Morning Football right
That's
now.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't have an issue with him saying I'm not here to mentor him, because he's not. That's not his job. And we live in this fantasy world. And I'll go back to something, because one of my favorite moments in my radio career happened in the summer of 2020. I was filling in for Jared with Floyd, and it was in the middle of the pandemic when we had nothing to talk about. We had beat The Last Dance to death, talking about that. And I don't remember exactly how we got on it, but I brought up the whole Vince Steve thing. And I said, I've always wondered, and this is on the air. I was like, I probably should ask you this off the air, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Like, was the plan for you guys to draft Vince and Steve be, Steve still be the starter and Vince learn under Steve? And he said, yeah. And he went through the whole thing of how it all happened. And I do believe that in everybody's mind that's not named Steve McNair, that was the thought, that Steve would be the starter for a couple more years, either a year or a couple more years, and then eventually he'd pass the baton to Vince, and everybody would be like, yeah, like these two are so close, and maybe Steve would back up Vince. That wasn't going to happen.
No.
That's not how this works. And Floyd knew that. Like, Floyd knows competition. And I think in his mind that's what it was going to be. It was going to be competition. There's no, hey man, it's like Pecorine and UC Saros. I remember sitting in a room with Pecorine saying, how cool is it that you're able to mentor him? And he kind of looked at me like, yeah, no, that's not what I'm here to do. I got a lot of game left in me, and yep. You're going to have to pry this away from me. And that's basically what happened. So I think it's competition. Competition's a good thing. And, if Malik Willis comes into training camp and tears it up, even though he's not going to win the job, I still think it's Tannehill's job. But if Tannehill feels him breathing down his neck and feels a little pressure, that's not a bad thing.
Well, look, I'm interested to see how Tannehill responds to this anyway. I mean, the whole picture of it. You've got, an average at best regular season last year for him, and then the playoff game is what it is. You throw 3 picks, and the city has just turned on the guy. And I'm not saying that every Titans fan wants to move on from Ryan Tannehill, but there's no question the way that he's viewed in this city now compared to when they started this season a year ago, it's way different. Like, it's drastically different the way that he's viewed. So I was interested to see how he responds to that anyway. And now you throw in the fact that they've drafted a quarterback that they think can eventually be his replacement. Sometimes we see this work a couple of ways. Some people fold to that pressure, and some people rise up and they embrace it and they play better than they ever have. I'm really interested to see how Tannehill responds to that stuff anyway. So, as you said, I mean, it's going to be his job this year unless things just go extremely poorly and go off the rails at some point. And then you're talking about a Titans team that's probably not very good at that point. But it's going to be his job this year. How does he respond to a level of adversity that, people throw out the Miami stuff, and I'm sure that there was obviously a lot of noise on him on that front, but a lot of that was injury related, and the team around him wasn't very good. Like, nobody ever thought the Dolphins were going to be a Super Bowl contender. This to me is way different, and this is the biggest test of Ryan Tannehill's career, I think, coming in this next year, and how he responds to what was and has been a tumultuous offseason. And one thing I will say about the Malik Willis situation that I think is pretty obvious based on the reaction to this, no matter really what he says as he moves forward here, he is going to be under such a microscope because of the way that he's played on the field. And how does he deal with that heading into next season? That's a big question.
Yeah, and to your point on this, I think that Tannehill is in no player, quarterback, or whatever position is ever going to admit this, but I think he is the type that he needs the pressure and the competition behind him. Like, that's just what he needs. He came in here having to prove himself again. He was basically, Miami paid for him to go away.
Yeah.
He was traded here to be the backup, and then eventually he has that chip on his shoulder, and he takes the job because Mariota couldn't thrive under the pressure. Mariota just proved that he wasn't the guy, and so Tannehill takes over. Well, then he gets comfortable, and then he knows that, or they know that you have Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's the catalyst for the offense, and the defense gets better, and all of that. And so he's not having to put the team on his shoulder. Nobody should be surprised, because if you go back and look at all their success, he didn't have to do a whole lot to be a part of that. And he had great numbers when he did, but in the playoffs when they were winning, it was because of Henry, and it was because of big chunk plays. So, I go back to my original point. I don't think he's here to mentor him. That's not his job. But I think the pressure can be a good thing for Tannehill.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, 615-737-1025. Scott in Hopkinsville, hang with us. We'll get to you on the other side as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Single match tickets are on sale now at NashvilleSC.com/singletix. That's NashvilleSC.com/singletix.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
People of Tennessee, Caesars Sportsbook is giving out first bet insurance for all new users, up to $1,100. Download the app and use promo code RADIOCZR and then place your first bet. If you win, congrats. But if not, you'll get your wager back as a free bet. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager returned only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
And now it's Geico's Motorcycle Rules of the Road.
Avoid biking in the rain and never touch another person's bike.
Hey guys, look at these bikes. So shiny. Whoops. I'm gonna leave a note. Oh gosh, there's more.
And the rule to saving on motorcycle insurance is, in 15 minutes, Geico could save you 15% or more.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Come on in to Geodis Park and get closer, bolder, and golder at Nashville SC's. Single match tickets are on sale now at nashvillesc.com/singletix.
Bring your hive together with Spirited Hive. It's Hive O'Clock. What is Hive O'Clock? It's connecting or celebrating with your hive. A time to be present and create shared memories. At Spirited Hive, we become aficionados discerning what goes best with bourbon, tequila, and vodka in a canned cocktail. Bourbon whiskey with rosemary infused with honey and lemon. Tequila ginger infused with honey and lime. Or vodka cranberry infused with honey and lime. Available to purchase on reservebar.com or tap room for delivery within the hour. Join us at Spirited Hive on Instagram to see what the buzz is all about.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
I think it's totally unfair to say that, he's pulling a Chris Chandler, and that's exactly what Chris Chandler did to Steve McNair. He did try to make his life hell. He did look at him as the enemy, and he didn't help him one bit. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is taking that tone at all with Malik Willis. So I completely think that is an unfair thing to take that one statement out of 17 minutes and 19 seconds of question and answers. And that was towards the end when, look, I've been up there, you have too, in a Q&A. You get fatigued, all right? Your brain may not be working at full power, and you may not exactly be able to say, look, if I say I'm not going to mentor him, that's where the media is going to pounce, and they're going to be all over me for that. If you're that perfect – and you can answer every single question for 17 minutes perfectly, then good on you. Good on you. I have yet to see somebody do that. If you're more perfect than he is there, congratulations. So that is ridiculous to me that he's getting ripped for that.
Willie D bringing it yesterday on Darren, Daunic, and Chase.
Crispy would be proud.
Fired Up Willie is my favorite Willie.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Strong stuff yesterday on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, discussing the Ryan Tannehill situation with Malik Willis. Is it Ryan Tannehill's job to mentor Malik Willis? There's all sorts of different opinions on that. We'll take yours on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line and welcome in Scott from Hopkinsville, who's been waiting patiently. Scott, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
Hey, good morning. Willie's not going to like my answer. You got to be smart enough not to say something controversial when the question that was asked had absolutely nothing to do with mentoring. If he had said, we're in the same quarterback room, it's a competition, we're watching the same film, we're doing the same drills, but at the end of the day, he's a Titan, I'm a Titan, and we're out here to win football games, and left it at that, he would have been perfect. Nobody would be talking about anything except how good the press conference was, and he owned up to some stuff. And, he's the one that brought this on himself with the bonehead answer.
Hey, thanks for the call, Scott. We appreciate it. I mean, that part of it's interesting because I've heard that thrown out there in terms of, all right, it's not the question that was asked. If Tannehill just doesn't say that, then he's fine as he moves forward. What do you think of that?
I think it's an interesting angle because, I'm not going to agree with Willie on that he's fatigued at the end of a press conference, and that was calculated. That was, he knew that there was going into it. He knew there was going to be some sort of question about Malik Willis and him. He knew that was going to happen. And like I said, he did go out of his way to say, I'm not here to mentor Malik Willis. So it is interesting of why. The why is going to be lingering out there for a while of why even bring that up? Did you just bring it up because you knew it was going to come up eventually, so you just wanted to squash that right away? Because, again, I think we live in this world of, the guy's supposed to mentor the next guy, and quite frankly, that's BS.
It's
happen.
just
no. I'm not, I'm not going to mentor you. You're not going to mentor me. We're in to do this, you got to be in it for yourself for a while. And so Now, working with people along the way, if there's something that, and he even said this, if there's something that he can learn from me by watching me or being around me, in the quarterback room, then okay. And that's how you do it. Like, that's how you pay attention, or you do pay attention, and that's how you learn things.
Well, and I've heard this thrown out there too, which just drives me crazy, is, well, quarterbacks, sometimes they're assigned to mentor young players. Well, yeah, that's true. They're not paid $38 million to mentor young players. Like, Ryan Tannehill's 33 years old. Ryan Tannehill's not worried about the next guy right now. He's worried about, can I extend my career as a starting quarterback in the NFL, whether that's here with the Titans or whether that's somewhere else. If Tannehill's good next year, he will be a starter in 2023. It may not be here. I don't know. But it will be somewhere else if he's good next year. So Tannehill's not worried about mentoring the next guy. He still feels like he's got several good years left of football in him. I also thought one thing pretty interesting, too, that because of the Malik Willis comments about not being mentored, kind of didn't get talked about a lot yesterday. It was interesting to me that Tannehill, who doesn't really say a whole lot at press conferences, kind of offered up in the press conference that, yeah, John Robinson didn't tell me about that pick. Didn't consult me about the.
It's not John Robinson's
which is
job
not
to
his
tell
job.
you, yeah.
Look, I agree. It's not his job to tell you that, and I don't fault John Robinson for doing that. But I found that part of it interesting too. Of Tannehill wanted to make it sure that it was known that, yeah, they didn't consult me about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not your job as a GM to consult the starter on draft picks. Now, if you feel necessary, if there's a, like I go back to Green Bay, and because Rodgers had been there for so long and done so much for the franchise, like, okay, maybe make the phone call. Hey, just so you know, we're going to take a quarterback in the first round. Like, you don't have to explain why. But again, you're not required to do that. That shouldn't be expected. That's up to you. It's like Floyd would have called Steve and said, "Hey, we're going to take Vince. Just so you know. Like, I wanted you to hear it from me." But that's not required by any means. But I don't know. And this is going to be something that we're going to beat to death. I mean, people are already sick of talking about it. But he made it a story when he said, "I'm not here to mentor Malik Willis."
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Bill from Clarksville. Bill, what's going on? Thanks for calling into Robby and Rexrode.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. Crazy Billy here, longtime PSL owner. Tannehill mentioned that he was in a real dark place after the playoffs, and, I'm going to tell you right now, this PSL owner is in a real dark place from the last losses on our playoffs. And I worked a long time. I'm retired now at corporate America. And if you're not a team player, you're not mentoring the young ones, you're not part of the machine. And for him to have that arrogance, very, very disappointing from the fan base. I've talked to multiple of my friends who go to the game. He just needs to take the mirror out from under his face and look at the team. And I hope he improves. I hope he makes us eat our words. That would be a great situation. I hope he makes $100 million every year. But right now his performance is subpar. And that comment just was inappropriate. And, hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all doing a great job. Keep hammering down. Go Titans.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. I was going to ask him this, but I'll ask the rhetorical question. If you're a Titans fan, what do you want Ryan Tannehill to focus on? Mentoring Malik Willis or getting better at his own game? Because, again, he's going to be your starting quarterback this season.
Yes.
The only thing that's going to change that, in my mind, is if he gets hurt, or if it's just unbearable and the rest of the team sucks and you're like, you know what, let's just see what the kid has.
Well, and again, I said this yesterday, but I think people are acting like Tannehill is just going to, like Malik Willis is going to be walking in the door and Tannehill's just going to shut it right in his face. He's not going to talk to Malik Willis. He's not going to be worried about Malik Willis, not going to be a good teammate to Malik Willis. And I just don't buy that. I mean, I guess maybe that could happen, but I just don't buy that that's going to be the case. That's from everything we know about Ryan Tannehill. And from what people say about him, That's not what it's like. I mean, to me, people are getting way too hung up on the word mentor. Like, the Titans just drafted a running back in the 4th round, Hassan Haskins out of Michigan. I like the pick. I like everything about it. Do you think that Derrick Henry is going to spend some time this year mentoring Hassan Haskins, or is he going to be trying to get ready for a season and trying to get back to being a 2,000-yard rusher? What do you think Derrick Henry's more worried about this year? Preparing maybe the running back of the future for the Titans, or running for 2,000 yards this year and getting back and being healthy?
Running for 2,000
because I think I may
yards.
know the answer to that.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. You want to mentor? You know how you mentor? You turn, you look at it and go, hey, watch this.
That's how this is done.
This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Now, do I think that Derrick Henry, watching Hard Knocks last year, there was the running back that, I forget his name, that was trying to make the team. And one thing that I thought was cool and interesting was they kept showing Zeke, talking to him during practice and saying, okay, watch me run this, or go up through the hole here. Watch how I do it. Watch where I cut. That's mentoring. Now, he's teaching. He's teaching him how to play the running back position in the National Football League. I think Derrick will do that. I think
Tannehill will do that.
I think Tannehill will do that too. I think there will be conversations between Malik Willis, Logan Woodside, and Ryan Tannehill of, okay, during a preseason game, he goes, hey, you made this throw. This is what I would have done. NWI was over here, but maybe you had a better option over here. That's quarterbacks talking. And you can call that mentoring. That's basically what it is. But he's also not, I think in a Titans fan sense of, to the caller's point of mentoring, of you're supposed to basically prepare the guy to take your job. No. Like, if that's the case, if Ryan Tannehill got up there and said, yeah, I'm going to prepare him to be the starter for this football team next year, then I don't want Ryan Tannehill on the team.
No. That's
just ridiculous.
That's why I think people are getting way too hung up on that word, and this has been overblown so much. We'll continue to take your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll get David Beauclair's thoughts from SI.com on this coming up next. The Ryan Tannehill situation and how the Titans look post-draft as well. Make sure you join ESPN 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor coming up on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. Sign up now at thegamenashville.com/golf. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
The NFL draft is in the books, and the Tennessee Titans were busy.
Tennessee Titans select Traylon Burks, Raja McQuarrie,
adding many key pieces to Mike Vrabel's squad.
Nicholas Petit-Frere, Malik Willis.
What impact will the players have for the two-tone blue?
Regardless of who he is, he's got to fit the identity of your team.
The Titans are going to play football in September.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Single match tickets are on sale now at NashvilleSC.com/singletix. That's NashvilleSC.com/singletix.
Don't forget to grab your mom something special this year. Shop at Social Furniture for their Mother's Day sale, where everything is in stock. They have sofas, bedroom sets, and top-name brand new mattresses like Purple, Serta, Sealy, and Simmons on sale now. Running out of time? Well, at Social Furniture, there's no waiting and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
The Metal Tour of the Year. Megadeth, Lamb of God, with special guests Trivium and In Flames. This Friday, Bridgestone Arena. 4 of metal's biggest artists share the stage for one epic night. This is a buck-up. On sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com. Megadeth, Lamb of God, with special guests Trivium and In Flames.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
It's the official Bud Light Preds Watch Party as your Nashville Predators take on Colorado for Game 2 tonight. The puck drops at 8:30, but the party starts at 8 with all kinds of specials, like $6 on select cans or their delicious new Smashville cocktail for $10. Watch the game on the biggest screen downtown, and don't forget they have dozens of unlimited free vintage arcade games. See you tonight at Headquarters Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
This is R.A. Dickey, and I'm proud to tell you about my friends at Smoky Mountain Tops. When my wife Ann and I needed new countertops for our kitchen, we called Smoky Mountain Tops. We wanted to make sure that we worked with a company dedicated to quality, craftsmanship, and customer service. And that's what we got with Smoky Mountain Tops. Go with the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops for any of your surfacing countertop needs. Located in Knoxville and Nashville. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
Come out to Rivergate Mall Food Court on Friday, May 6th between 12:30 and 2:30 to register to win a pair of Preds playoff tickets from ESPN 1025 The Game. Stop by Sports Seasons while you're at Rivergate Mall for all your Preds game day gear.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Talking Titans, and to help us do that, we go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in David Beauclair from SI.com. David, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys today?
We are great. Appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. So, David, there's been a lot of discussion the last couple of days about Ryan Tannehill and his press conference, and specifically his comments on Malik Willis, saying, quote, "I don't think it's my job to mentor him." What do you make of those comments by Tannehill, and what do you make of the story that has turned into in the aftermath?
Yeah, I'm not at all surprised at the story it's turned into. Right there in the moment when he said it, I thought, oh goodness, here we go. And it was kind of surprising because Ryan Tannehill is good at press conferences from the standpoint that he handles himself well. He understands why he needs to do them. He usually is, in fact, almost always is prepared for the questions that are coming, and he answers the questions in a way that is not insulting to reporters, but he doesn't serve up much of anything terribly interesting either. So that was a little bit out of character, in that it was the wrong thing to say. I think as I've thought about it and kind of gone deeper, it's a guy who's I think it was a sort of a natural, honest reaction from a guy who knows now that his days are numbered, and possibly numbered a little too short, if you will. Like, to use a couple of recent examples, like in 2020, Jurrell Casey had to know after what he saw late in the 2019 season, like, okay, it's Jeffrey Simmons' time, right? Like, in his heart of hearts, he knew that Jeffrey Simmons was better than him and was at that point and was gonna have to take his job, whatever. Last year it was probably the same way with Kenny Vaccaro and Amani Hooker. Amani Hooker had shown enough that Kenny Vaccaro had to know. Quarterback is always such a different situation, and I think Ryan Tannehill is concerned that he's going to lose the job at a point that maybe when it's not exactly time. Like Tannehill could throw for 4,500 yards and 38 touchdowns against just 6 interceptions this year, and play well in the playoffs. And even if the Titans, and the Titans still maybe don't win the Super Bowl, whatever, they're likely to go and cut him anyway. So I think what he was sort of saying is the Titans are going to give the job to Malik Willis whenever they want to give the job to Malik Willis. It doesn't matter if I help him, if not. So he, I'm just going to do my job. He can do his job, and we'll be there. And I think that's probably a difficult thing for a guy in Tannehill's position to deal with, because this is clearly the best professional situation he has had in his career.
David, I mean, along these lines, covering this team and covering the league as long as you have, that it's not easy to find, let alone one franchise quarterback, but when that time is up, to go to the next guy. I mean, we were talking earlier of, it would have been nice if it had been Steve McNair and they draft Vince Young and he backs up Mac for a couple of years, and then there's that passing of the torch, and then it goes to Vince Young. It doesn't work that way usually. Unless you're the Indianapolis Colts and you can hit on Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. But the Titans, to me, are in a good situation. We haven't seen Malik Willis take one snap in the National Football League yet, but if Tannehill can go out there and improve from last year, prove that he can still be the starter, and then Malik can hold the clipboard for a couple of years, I think that's the perfect scenario for them. Like you said, then they decide when they want to go ahead and anoint him the starter.
Yeah, I think though, Chase, that the salary cap situation. This is a team that's done the salary cap dance for a couple of off seasons now, and where I think Ryan Tannehill's fear comes in. He's under contract for 2 more years, but the team can get some pretty significant salary cap relief if they cut him next off season, and they then they can get out of a little bit of this cycle of we got to renegotiate guys, or we got to cut a bunch of veteran guys, or that sort of thing. And that's where I think the fear comes from. And of course, quarterback is a different situation too. You can go back a little farther in this team's history to 2012, and Jake Locker was not a better quarterback than Matt Hasselbeck at the moment this team said, we're going to go with Jake Locker as our starter. But there is the feeling that guy needs to play, and it's not like you can put him in just third down packages or whatever. You got to throw your quarterback sort of into the deep end, and I think with a guy like Malik Willis, that's I would assume that's what Tannehill's thinking the Titans are going to do at some point, and I would assume that's probably what the Titans are thinking too. It's the difference here, of course, is compared to Marcus Mariota, for example. The Titans had Mariota for 5 years under their control, right? They exercised the 50-year option and then finally decided after 2019 to move on from him. But with Malik Willis as a third-round pick, they're only going to have him for 4 years. So if you wait 2 years before you make that move, now you've only got him for 2 years, which I guess can be a long time in the NFL, but I think they're going to be more inclined to try and do it after this season.
David Beauclair from SI.com on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, David, it's hard to believe. A lot's happened in the last week, but it's a week ago today. It's the first round of the draft, and A.J. Brown gets shipped off to the Philadelphia Eagles. What did you make of that move? And now in the aftermath of it, with the draft class complete, how do you view the Titans in the AFC South right now?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You take A.J. Brown off of this team, there's no way you can say the Titans are better now than they were at this same time last Thursday. They obviously have a lot of work to do. They have pieces in place. They have a plan. But the way I look at the Titans is this, Robby, particularly, the defense is pretty much the same as it was. You're hoping guys are a little bit better, or say in Bud Dupree's case, a whole lot better because of health. And then you're, that unit can be really solid. But where things are drastically different to me is on offense, because who scares you right now? Derrick Henry, the thought of Derrick Henry scares you, for example. But if Derrick Henry is diminished by that foot injury, and he's much closer to ordinary than we've ever seen him this year, that, that changes things in terms of how defenses react to him. A.J. Brown was a guy who scared the life out of defenses, and they reacted to him. Even such as he was last year, Julio Jones was a guy who scared you when he was on the field because you knew the things he could potentially do. The year before, Jonnu Smith scared you a little bit because of what he was capable with the ball in his hands. You look at this team right now. Who scares you other than, maybe if Derrick Henry is back to normal? But, like Robert Woods, for example, even if he's fully healthy and everything, he's a good player, a fine NFL pro and all that. But does he scare you? Does he make defenses go, oh my God, we've got to really account for this guy when he's out there? Same thing with Austin Hooper. Put up some good numbers in Atlanta, good red zone guy, but is he a guy that you're going to adjust your defense for? I don't think so, and that's going to be a real challenge for Ryan Tannehill this year in particular, because I think that we've all wondered to what degree has he benefited from the fact that that defenses are so worried about Derrick Henry that everybody else is. His receivers are largely manned up on the outside, or how much has he benefited from the fact that everybody's was rolling coverage to A.J. Brown last year, and that made defenses easy to sort out. It's going to be a lot more difficult for him this year. And, if Treylon Burks it takes a while to sort of adjust to the NFL, and let's face it, he's in a terrible situation because everything he does is going to be compared to A.J. Brown, and that's that's a very high bar for anyone to answer. It's I think it could be a bit of a rough go for this offense this year. We're
talking to David Beauclair at SI.com. So I think that's interesting that you say that, because it's, and rightfully so, because of the pieces that they've lost. But one person in particular that I'm curious about is Nick Westbrook-Akina. Do you think that he is what he is at this point, or because of the situation that they're in, and he, at least early on, is probably going to get more opportunities than maybe he has in the past? Do you think that there could be another level to him? I'm not saying that he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver and he's A.J. Brown or Julio Jones, but do you think that there's another gear for NWI?
Athletically, Chase, I don't think there is. I mean, there's a reason he was an undrafted free agent, right? And if you're the Titans, you love him. He's exceeded probably all expectations. A guy who could play all three positions. If he gets more opportunity, his numbers will go up. But it's the same sort of thing. I don't think you'll see him as a guy who's taking a 7-yard slant and turning it into an 80-yard touchdown by breaking 2 tackles and making a third guy miss along the way. I just don't see that from him. And he's actually a guy. I wrote a piece yesterday. I think he's one of the veterans who was sort of most impacted by what happened in the draft. I think going into the draft, he was probably a guy who thought he was going to have a pretty clear-cut role going into this year, rather than be the guy that you would fill in at every particular spot. But now you've got Burks and Brown's spot. You've drafted a true slot receiver type in Kyle Phillips, and then you've got Woods on the other side, and there's Nick Westbrook-Akina right back where he's been, which is the guy that you drop in at any particular spot where you need him if somebody's hurt or needs a rest or whatever it is. And I think I think that's going to be kind of his lot in life with this team right now. And it probably is tied to the fact that by NFL terms, he's a much more ordinary athlete than a lot of other guys out there.
David, it certainly has not been a boring week around here. We appreciate you taking time to join us this morning.
No, it has not. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. David Beauclair from SI.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Coming up next, it is time for the Rex Rant, this time with Chase McCabe.
I'm ready.
Looking forward to that one coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Super Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a code red weather alert. I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Looking at partly cloudy skies this morning, scattered showers and thunderstorms developing this afternoon, evening, and overnight, some of which could be strong to severe.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Race fans, mark your calendar for the ARCA Menards Music City 200 and North-South Super Late Model Challenge at everyone's favorite local track, the Fairgrounds Speedway. May 7th, great family entertainment at the Fairgrounds with the Southern Super Series SLM 100 and the All-Stars Tour PLM 100. Get your tickets today at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.Racing and experience local racing's best at Nashville's legendary track. It's the ARCA Menard Music City 200 at the Fairgrounds Speedway. Coming up Saturday, May 7th. Get your tickets today.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with your family with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
Family Leisure has 40 spas on display from 3 of the biggest brand names: Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select. Prices starting as low as $29.99.
What about above ground pools?
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. Guaranteed installation before Memorial Day, starting as low as $29.99. Installed.
Wow, that's great.
If you're looking at a spa, I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has patio furniture from all the big brand names like Hannemint, Woodard, Jensen, and Apricity. There's more than 100 sets on display to choose from with free delivery.
That sounds good to me too. And maybe a new Sabre infrared grill to go with it?
We really should look at the wood play gym for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. It's Family Leisure's Vacation at Home sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Sounds Baseball is back. Catch the action at First Horizon Park tonight at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Norfolk Tides. Throwback Thursday returns as the Sounds wear their classic 1978 throwback uniforms. Plus, there are $2 and $3 drink specials throughout the park. For tickets, visit NashvilleSounds.com.
It's not too late. Make this the best Mother's Day yet with the perfect gift from Electronic Express. Great deals on top brands like Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, Sony, Cuisinart, Dyson, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers, 4K TVs, appliances, housewares, furniture, and more. Save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, what's going on? Chase McCabe here to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Dr. Rice, is it true that according to the American Dental Association, roughly 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease?
That's right, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy. And the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
I know you have some different things that you offer. What else can you tell us?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
What about taking care of cold sores some people may have, which can become painful? Can lasers help with that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll certainly be glad you did.
A show that doesn't pull any punches.
And they win a playoff game and they get to the divisional round and he doesn't give up a sack the rest of the year. I don't give two poops. I'm done.
And has an opinion on everything.
That ref crew that was just terrible. Threw flags on almost every possession.
Jared Stillman hosts Stillman and Company.
Tough guy. He's a really tough guy.
Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6. Delivered by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The time is now for the Rex Rant.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
On Robby and Rexrode, here on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Red, white, and blue, with the Tennessee Oilers, gonna get all over you.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. Chase McCabe in Joe's chair today. Little Tennessee Oilers theme song with Ronnie Dunn coming us back in here. I like that. By the way, we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live here from the Hillside Medical Game Studio. Every time this song comes on, Chase, I get fired up.
I do too. This was the jam back in the day. Yeah. And then he redid it with the Tennessee Titans, but it's just not the same.
It is not the same. Chase McCabe, your rant of the day. I turn things over to you.
Yes, sir. Okay, and what I'm going to need in this rant is I'm going to need you, Robbie, and you, Michelle, to decide who I should really be mad at.
Okay.
Oh, we got you.
Because I could see some gray area. So like a lot of people during the pandemic, I really started utilizing the Uber Eats and DoorDash and so now I'm just lazy and I use it all the time. For those of you wondering, I can cook. I do enjoy cooking. I don't enjoy cleaning, so I choose not to.
Amen.
And being the single bachelor that I am, I utilize the DoorDash, Uber Eats services, Postmates quite a bit. All right. So the thing that drives me nuts, though, is when I use these services and I go and it's like I get the notification, hey, your food's here. And I go to the door and I have at my house, I have I have the regular door and then I have a storm door and the food's sitting right in front of the door. And I can't open the door. I have to basically knock over my food to get the door open. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, for a long time, I would just get pissed because it's like, why do you think this is a good idea? Like, you clearly see that there's a door there, and you can tell that it's going to open to the outside. So why do you set the food in front of it? And then the other night, I had an epiphany because I realized maybe why this happens. Maybe.
Okay.
And this is where you two will come in. I do have a tendency to forget to turn on the front porch light. So it's dark. And I realized this when I flipped the switch on. I'm like, and it's sitting in front of the door and I go, is this a situation where either they can't see and they just set it down in front of the door because they can't tell if it opens from the inside or the outside? Or are they just mad at me because I didn't turn the light on?
Well, it could be.
And so they're doing this on purpose. Which, if that's the case, then I should be mad at myself because again, in my laziness of ordering food, I should walk in and go and turn on the light. And that would make this process much easier for them. So it is frustrating because, and I've thought about this because it has happened in the daytime where it's sitting in front of the door. So then I have every right to be mad.
Yeah, they can see then.
So to use the DDC who's on, who just made the list, am I on the list or are the delivery drivers on the list? Who should I really be ranting?
Well, look, I think it should be common sense to not put it directly in front of the door because, as you said, I mean, depending on what's in there, I mean, there are some things that you can knock over and it's really not going to be that big of a deal. But there are some things you knock over, and then all of a sudden you open up the plastic, container that it's in, and it all comes out, and it's all ruined at that point. So my advice would be, just generally speaking, as a delivery driver, don't put it in front of the door. Now, I have a little bit more sympathy if it's nighttime and they can't see. That one's on you. I'd probably turn the light on. Yeah. But the daytime part of this, just don't put it in front of the door. Put it to the side where you can open the door, you can grab it. There's no damage done at that point. It's all good.
There was one.
I didn't know that this was a problem. When they bring it to my house, it's never in front of the door.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And there was one time that I didn't see, and I was, I opened the door and I had ordered a drink too, and I knocked the drink everywhere because it was sitting in front of the door. So you can understand that I was a little irritated.
Yeah.
Okay.
To say the least. Michelle, your thoughts?
So I'm laughing over here because I'm just picturing myself being an Uber Eats driver, a DoorDash driver, and, doing my job, right? Okay, I got the food. I'm just going to place it right in front of the door. I never knew this was an issue. And here I am thinking, I'd be a driver and I'd probably be the one I'm just going to put it right in front there for them, not even thinking about which way the door swings out or in. And I never realized this was a problem, but listen, you know what's more of a problem? When you're in an apartment complex and the Uber Eats driver can't find you and you're searching all around the building. So at least you're in a house, but if you knock it over, that kind of stinks. I think you're half on the list, Chase, and they're half on the list.
Yeah, because I get that, like, apartment complexes, the door is going to open in. So it's fine to set it in front of the door. Most people nowadays, I don't know if, like, because I'm in my grandparents' old house, so it's one of those storm doors that, like, you're not getting in. Like,
No.
It's metal, but it opens to the outside. So that's
What's a storm door? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. So it's like a screened-in door would do the same thing. So I think there's got to be some common sense on both sides. I admit I need to turn the light on. That needs to happen.
Or in the little app, you can write, hey, put to the left of the door maybe.
Or leave on stair.
But see, like, again, like, I'm having to get into the common sense department.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, like that.
There's
you're
some
right,
things
I
you
could
shouldn't
do
have
that.
to say.
But I mean, in what I've noticed in 2022 is I think we have to teach people common sense.
There's a lack of that.
Maybe put a note on your door.
Do not place food in front of this door. Mark from Clarksville on the text line says, OMG, this is amazing. My wife and I have talked about this. We don't understand why they do that. It's not that hard to know that you should move the food to the side of the door. It happens all the time, and if you get a drink, it's going to spill. This is a great rant. Blame the delivery drivers. Use common sense. This is coming from Mark from Clarksville on the text line.
LD from McMinnville was mad at me. Why is your door opening out where that's not normal? And then he realized it was a storm door.
Wes in Clarksville texting in says, put a small table so they can just put food on it.
There is a table.
Just get a table and put it right in front of the door.
I didn't even mention that. There is a table.
Oh, well,
there's a table out
put it on the
there.
table.
Put it on the table.
And some do that. That does happen sometimes. But, yeah.
Better give them 5 stars.
And Mark points this out on the text line, and I've always kind of wondered this too, because there have been times, and this is very first world problems of me, I understand that, but there have been times where I'll write something in the comments about, hey, we'll be around back, so just do that or whatever. And I think I probably got like a 25% success rate when I put something in the comments that whatever I've told them actually takes place. So I'm kind of convinced that most people just don't read the comments anyway.
No, I don't think they do.
Well, you're also paying so much for the delivery, so please read them.
Put a milk crate outside and make it a designated area for your deliveries. That's not a bad idea.
Hey. Kathy on the text line says, don't most of these services have delivery notes? Have you tried mentioning not to put it directly in front of the door? There's a lot of people all over you for not putting this in the comment section. Maybe that's the first step for you.
I knew that somehow this would be my fault. And I knew Kathy would blame me. Thank you, Kathy.
Dennis says, it's tough being lazy these days with a nice little
really is.
Emoji face after. It's good stuff. Chase, I enjoyed that.
That was good.
So did I. Good job, Chase.
Thank you very much.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. I got some tickets to give away, a family 4-pack of tickets to the Franklin Rodeo at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park coming up on Thursday, May 19th. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 for a 4-pack of tickets to the Franklin Rodeo at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park coming up on Thursday, May 19th. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Titans. How do you feel about this draft class, the latest draft class that John Robinson has put together? We'll get Chase's thoughts on that next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Press Report.
presented by Newton Nissan.
The Predators had a team loss. Everybody contributed, unfortunately, in the 7-2 defeat at the hands of the Colorado Avalanche on Tuesday night in front of a crowd of over 18,000 at Ball Arena in Denver. They were down 5-0 after 15 minutes and 4 seconds. They had to change goaltenders, but it wasn't all goaltender related. The Predators did not do a good job of defensive zone coverage. Their special teams gave up a couple of power play goals plus a shorthanded goal to Colorado. But it all comes down to this. It was one loss. The Predators still have maybe 6 games in which to score the 4 victories necessary to move on. So tonight, it's game number 2. Pre-game coverage underway at 7:30, the game at 8:30. This is Pete Weber reporting.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
And I'm feeling good.
Global superstar Michael Bublé is back. Higher Tour live. August 16th, Bridgestone Arena. Michael Bublé.
Haven't met you yet.
Like you've never seen him before. Tickets make a great Mother's Day gift and go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Come on in to Geodis Park and get closer, bolder, and golder at Nashville SC's. Single match tickets are on sale now at NashvilleSC.com/singletix.
Meet your new one-stop shop for anything and everything Delta 8. D8 Superstore has Delta 8 vapes, gummies, dabs, flour, and more. Backed by their years of extensive product research and testing, they offer the best prices, selection, and quality on the market. Get free shipping on every order with customer support that responds in minutes. So don't wait. Try their Delta 8. Shop with us at d8superstore.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, hour number 3 of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic here with you. We'll get look ahead to Preds and Avalanche coming up in Game 2 around 8:30. Preds Pick to Click later this hour as well. A very important edition of Preds Pick to Click. Joe Rexrode's going to put a lot of pressure on Chase McCabe.
All the pressure.
We'll see how he responds to that. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Sean texting in says, this draft class is solid as heck. Okonkwo is an underrated pick. I believe NPF will be more of a project than people think /1. So speaking of that, we've talked a lot about, obviously, the A.J. Brown trade and the Tannehill comments in the aftermath, but there was a draft last week that the Titans participated in, and Treylon Burks, the first-round pick, Roger McCreary in the second round, a cornerback out of Auburn, Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Ohio State as an offensive tackle in the third round, and obviously Malik Willis generating some headlines as well. So the Titans creating more picks with the A.J. Brown trade, going from originally being scheduled to pick at number 26 overall and then not again until number 90. You turn into 18, and then you pick again at 35, and then you pick again at 69, and then at 86 as well with Malik Willis in there. So multiplying the picks that you have in the top 90, what did you think, Chase McCabe, of the job that J-Rob and the Titans did with their draft picks, and Was there anything other than the obvious of the A.J. Brown trade and the drafting of Malik Willis that really surprised you?
Yeah, overall, and I know reading through a lot of draft grades, and I know those don't matter, really. At the end of the day, it's all about how the players perform. Overall, I thought this was one of John's best drafts since he's been here. Now, it's got to play out. We got to see these guys on the field. But on paper, I really, really like it because you address needs that you had. You made the best out of a tough situation with the A.J. Brown stuff by getting Treylon Burks to be his replacement. You added another receiver in Kyle Phillips that I think is going to be underrated. Excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze there for a second.
That'd be awesome.
I know. Brick a chair, just like Rexrode. So I think that's underrated. My favorite pick, though, of the entire draft was probably Hassan Haskins in the 4th round. I think that is a solid pick for this Titans team. And I don't say that in them asking him to come in and replace Derrick Henry. He could eventually, whenever that day comes. But I think he's a good complementary piece because – you needed help at the running back position. There are unknowns with Henry in the foot and how he's going to be, but he can add another element, and he's kind of built like Henry. He's the same kind of running back, so he's not that change of pace back that they've drafted the last couple years and hadn't worked out. He can be very similar to Derrick Henry. So I really, really like that pick, but I like the Theo Jackson pick in the 6th round as well. A versatile defensive back. So overall, I like this draft class. I can't wait for I don't think I've been this excited about a preseason game for the Titans that I have in a while, but a lot of that has to do with being able to see Malik Willis.
It's interesting. I agree with mostly everything that you said there. I'm excited about the draft class. I mean, Chigakonkwo at tight end, I think, has a chance to be really good. I mean, physically, Tannehill pointed this out the other day. He certainly looks the part, and he is a versatile, athletic guy at the tight end position. One thing that's interesting to me that as you kind of sort through here, I mean, you take the offensive tackle in the 3rd round with Nicholas Petit-Frere, and you don't go guard. You don't go interior lineman in this draft. And we were talking about, all the mock drafts heading into the draft obviously had the Titans taken – a lot of them had Zion Johnson. Some of them had Kenyon Green. And those 2 guys ended up going before 26 anyway, where they were originally scheduled to pick. But you don't address it at all in the draft. And it kind of leaves me looking around and saying, well, all right, who's going to be the left guard this year? You've got Aaron Brewer in there. You signed Jamarco Jones this offseason as well from Seattle. And you've got Dylan Radins. You just drafted another relatively high pick at offensive tackle. So do they now view Dylan Radins as a guard? Is he competing for the starting job at right tackle? I'm interested. That was probably the most intriguing thing outside of the picks themselves in the draft. The most intriguing thing to me was not going interior lineman in the draft at any point.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that too. So I don't know. I don't know whether to read into they have more faith in Dylan Radins than maybe we do, that they've seen improvement with him and think that he's ready for that. You mentioned Aaron Brewer. Now, an interesting scenario that I haven't really heard anybody throw out there that maybe they could look at in training camp is, do you put Aaron Brewer at center and move Ben Jones over to left guard? Jones has played guard before. We've seen that shift happen. So is that something that maybe they experiment with to see what happens there? With Petit-Frere, I don't know if he's ready to be a day one starter at right tackle, which concerns me a little bit. Does that mean, okay, they're going to put Radins there, or, Dennis Kelly's still out there? I think they should definitely look at that. They didn't bring back Quesenberry. He's gone now with Buffalo. So do they sign somebody else? But the offensive line is still going to be a concern for me until I actually see whatever they roll out there work, because I don't think they've completely addressed that. So I'm with you. I'm surprised they didn't go with an interior offensive lineman. But you also look at when they actually made their selections that maybe what they thought was good wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so they went with best available, which I think sometimes that's what you need to do. You don't always need to draft for need. Sometimes you just have to take the best player available.
Well, and I think that, to that point, is that what they did at 35 overall when they drafted McCreary? I mean, obviously, you're looking at cornerback right now, and I would assume that Caleb Farley going to get a pretty good look this year coming off of injury. Vrabel was very complimentary of him, kind of went out of his way to be complimentary of him in the pre-draft press conference.
And always pay attention when Vrabel does that.
Yeah, which he does not. He doesn't just offer that up all the time. And he's done that for a few guys. I remember he did it with Hilliard last year. He's done it with Nick Westbrook-Akina, and he did it with Farley, last week as well. So, it could be just as simple as McCreary was the best guy available on their board, and that's where they decided to go at number 35 overall. I will say, if it works out and Farley works out, you've got 4 guys on a rotational basis right now that you feel pretty darn good about. And to me, the one area of the defense that I was concerned about was Caleb Farley. Like, what happens if he comes back and he's not ready to be a starter? What happens if he comes back and he's injured, which, by the way, he's been injured a lot lately. That's something you have to address if you're the Titans. So I know a lot of people were left kind of scratching their heads when they took Roger McCreary at number 35 overall, and I was too. But the more you think about it, the more I think you can kind of maybe understand what John Robinson and the Titans were thinking there.
Yeah, I think that's a pick that just is win-win. If everything works out like you hope it does, and Farley's good and Fulton's good, they're healthy, and ready to go, then you just, like you said, you have 4 solid cornerbacks, and then you have some depth behind them, with Jackson and Buster Screen. They got 6 viable options at that point for the cornerback position for this team, and I could see them carrying 6 cornerbacks or maybe more, for this team this year. So I think that's just, gravy at this point. So overall, I like the draft class. I still think, even though they're strapped for cap room, that they could still potentially add via free agency. I think they could use one more wide receiver. I'd really like them to look at Cole Beasley as a slot receiver. I think you get him on the cheap. I've heard Will Fuller's name thrown out there. He's hurt all the time. I really wouldn't look at that. And then like we said earlier, another offensive lineman. But overall, I think this is going to be a good draft class, and I really hope that it all pans out because, like I said, on paper, I like it a lot.
How do you feel about the Titans draft class and the work that John Robinson and the Titans did last week, navigating through the draft, adding more picks in the top 90, everything on the table on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get to more of that next. The Nashville Predators in the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs, and we need you at Bridgestone Arena. Big game tonight in Game 2 in Colorado. We'll see if the Predators can even up the series as they come back home, setting up what would be an awesome environment at Game 3 coming up on Saturday at Bridgestone Arena. Round 1 playoff tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. These are the games that you don't want to miss. Epic goals, massive wins, and historic moments. I can tell you, if you've never been to a playoff game before, that's something you're definitely going to want to check out. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to be there for all the action. Stand with us, Smashville, and paint the town Preds. Once again, that's NashvillePredators.com/tickets.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Getting enough sides so you don't have to share? That's finger licking good. Order the KFC Side Lovers Meal today and get 3 large KFC sides served with 8 pieces of tenders or fried chicken. Prices and participation may vary.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. There's no better time to upgrade your essential home systems than this month at Hiller. Until the end of May, Hiller is offering 0 interest for 60 months on select new HVAC systems, 0 interest for 12 months on new tankless water heaters, and 0 interest for 12 months on new whole home generators. If you know you need a new system for your home, do it this month. These financing offers are available for a limited time only. You stay comfortable and cool all summer and handle the payments later. Visit happyhiller.com for all the details. As always, happy you'll be here. The service is free. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
If you've been thinking about remodeling your home's kitchen or bath, contact the countertop experts at Smoky Mountain Tops. Willie Daunic here, and we installed Smoky Mountain Top surfacing in our kitchen years ago. It's remained durable and super easy to clean up. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the new prestigious Vidara quartz for your kitchen or bath countertops. Vidara surfaces are ideal for use in almost any interior application. Check out the stunning new Vidara quartz shown at Smoky Mountain Top Studio. Contact the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops. Quality, service, and dedication. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
From curriculum-based literacy programs and sport leagues to college tours and workforce readiness tracks, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provide a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Interact with Robby and Rexrode. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Join 1025 The Game and the Preds Energy Team tonight to root on the Preds at Headquarters Beercade downtown for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party and enter to win tickets to the Round 1 Game 3 game coming up on Saturday at Bridgestone Arena. I think Tennessee Oilers song's in Michelle's head.
Apparently.
It's a great song.
Double shot.
Shout out to Ronnie Dunn.
I'm almost in vacay mode, and I'm just vibing right now.
So
who isn't vibing?
When I was, I guess I was in like 7th or 8th grade, Ronnie Dunn's daughter, I think, went to FRA. And we had, at the end of the year, we always did fun things. And I remember walking by the theater in the middle school, and we heard like this rock music, and I heard My Maria.
Oh, yeah.
And I like looked in there, and Ronnie Dunn's doing a concert for the high school, like a free concert. And I'm like, well, I want to go to that.
Just nailed it. It's good stuff. Taking your thoughts on the Titans on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Matt from Camden texting in says, I like the draft top to bottom. I agree with Chase. I'd kick the tires on Kelly and Beasley because I think you can get them cheap on 1 or 2 year deals, and I'd stick Radens at guard. But I also could see them being hard-headed and putting Radens at tackle and Brewer at guard. This coming from Matt from Camden on the text line. It is interesting. Like we talked about, maybe where they go in the draft tells you how they view Dylan Radens. Now that they've gone not having interior guard, a lot of Titans fans are saying, well, does that mean that they view Radens as a guard? I don't know that I necessarily buy it that way. Maybe he is the favorite for the starting right tackle job, and Petit Friere will eventually compete there. But I don't really feel like I'm that much closer to knowing how they view Dylan Radens now as I was before the draft, and that kind of concerns me.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more when you get into mini camps and stuff like that, but probably not. I just think
Bray will be an open book about that stuff. Guys,
he usually is.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I'm going to change my ways this year. I'm going to give you more information.
Yeah.
So let you know what's going on.
Joe's convinced that Vrabel dies a little bit inside every time he's forced to come out with an injury report. He's just like, oh my God, okay. I'll let these idiots in the media know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
When's he coming on again? Is he
working on it.
Is he making an appearance?
We're working on it.
It was like my first month working, and I remember being like, hi, and all happy. I was like, are you ready to go on with the guys? Are you excited? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm just so static right now.
Just thrilled.
Oh, I love it.
Vrabel's the type that, like, you know, obviously I don't go to the press conferences and practices and stuff because until recently I was working during that time. I mean, I'm still working during that time, but I was on the air. But I feel like every time I'm around him, it's like, does he know who I am? He probably knows who I am.
Yeah.
Does he hate me? Yeah, he probably hates me.
Well,
that's how it is.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Jack from Nashville who wants to weigh in. Jack, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
What's going on?
Well, I was just going to ask if we didn't take Malik where we took him, how differently would you feel about this draft? Because I feel like that was the most important thing, getting him that late so we don't have to pay him that much. It's really a risk-free situation. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Hey, thanks for the call, Jack.
That's an interesting question. I would probably still feel the same because, you know, assuming that the other pieces, you know, stay the same around Malik Willis, you know, maybe that's where maybe that pick could have been the interior offensive lineman. But, you know, I think at that point when you got there and they did move up a few spots to go ahead and grab him, but it's like he's still sitting there. And you knew, you know, if you're John Robinson, I think you went into this draft that quarterback was a need, but it wasn't a dire need. And so I think you looked at it as, okay, what he just said, we can get this guy. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it's a late third-round pick, so it's not the end of the world. So it was kind of a, you know, low-risk, high-reward kind of pick. But I would have felt the same. I don't think Malik Willis was what really changed this draft. I think it was just overall I really liked the selections that they made.
I think the value part of it starts to become intriguing. I mean the quarterbacks, they slid in this draft, and I wasn't convinced that they would. You know, obviously, I mean, all the talk about the quarterbacks in the draft was this quarterback class is not strong. Some people thought the quarterback class was horrible, which I think is reflected in where they were drafted. But by the time you get down to the third round and you're looking around and, you know, Malik Willis, I have no clue where he was on the Titans draft board, but nobody really thought he'd slide to the third round. I mean, the value-wise, that can end up being a great pick for you at some point. Now, David Beauclair brought up, I think, a really interesting point in terms of how you view Malik Willis moving forward. I think mostly everybody would agree he's probably not going to see the field this year other than the preseason. And, you know, in case Ryan Tannehill gets hurt, maybe he sees it then. But other than that, he's probably going to be, you know, redshirted, for lack of a better term, this year. But what about after that? Like, is he good enough? Can he show enough to the coaching staff this year to be ready in 2023? Because, you know, obviously, if you read about Malik Willis, if you hear the experts talk about Malik Willis, he's got the arm strength, he's got the athleticism. Everything else really needs some work. It's the processing defenses, it's making the right throws accurately, reading defenses, you know, all the things that go with playing the position of quarterback at the NFL level. It's going to take some work. So can he make enough progress in that this year where you feel good about him being the quarterback? Because as Beauclair brought up, if it's a 2-year thing with him, then you've really got 2 years to evaluate what you see, because there is no 5th-year option since he wasn't taken in the first round. That's an interesting part of this.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to something you just said, that he's likely not to see the field. And for the most part, I agree with you. But I think we've also seen this trend in the NFL where there are packages developed for the backup quarterback, specifically the young backup quarterback.
San Francisco last year with
San
Trey
Francisco
Lance.
had it with Trey Lance. Different circumstance, but, you know, the Raiders did that with Mariota. There were some packages that were developed for him. We've obviously seen Taysom Hill over the last few years, and that kind of started the trend with the backup quarterback. So I do wonder if Tim Kelly and Todd Downing developed some packages specifically made for Malik Willis. Now, I think if they do that, that means they're likely carrying Logan Woodside too and carrying 3 quarterbacks, because I think the people that say that, oh, Woodside is gone, I'm not so convinced yet that I could see them actually carry 3 quarterbacks, especially if they do have some packages for Malik Willis. So That's something to pay attention to. But to your point, he's not going to see the field from a starting, point of view unless something really bad happens. And I think even then that, if Woodside is on the team, they might give him a shot first just to see what they have. But I think it's certainly going to be curious of how they develop him. But, you also make a great point in that he doesn't have the fifth-year option. So time is going to be of the essence to see exactly what you have in the third-round pick.
And then, we've gone through the depth of this draft for the Titans, but then there's Treylon Burks sitting there with their first-round pick at number 18 overall. There's pressure anyway on a first-round pick coming in, regardless of what position it is, to be ready and to play and to help you. And there was going to be pressure on the first-round pick this year because of the way the last 2 years have gone with Isaiah Wilson and Caleb Farley. And now you multiply the A.J. Brown trade as well. Treylon Burks has a lot of pressure to come in and be really good and be really good immediately. And that may not be fair, but that's going to be what it is. And we'll see if Treylon Burks can respond to that coming in to training camp.
Yeah. What do you think had more pressure? Treylon Burks now with everything you just mentioned, or Corey Davis is the 5th overall pick? Or is it equal?
I think it's very similar, but I would say I would probably give the edge to Burks just because it's a known commodity of what you're replacing.
Yeah.
And maybe the pressure's not squarely on Burks. The pressure's on J-Rob too because you got rid of A.J. Brown, and he's a known commodity in the NFL in terms of his ability. Now, is there room for growth in A.J. Brown's game statistics-wise? Yeah, I'd say so, and he better have it now with the contract that he just signed. But I think there's more pressure on the situation as a whole because who A.J. Brown is and how important he is, and Treylon Burks has a lot to live up to from that perspective. Now, the good news is I love Treylon Burks. That was my pick that I hope the Titans had before they traded A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And now that they have, we'll see if he can live up to that.
I think they could have gotten him potentially at 26. So, that certainly could have been something. I think there would be less pressure on him if Robert Woods wasn't coming off a torn ACL.
Yes.
If Robert Woods wasn't coming off a torn ACL, then there's not pressure because Woods is the number one receiver, and you're going that way. But the fact that he is coming off a torn ACL, that is going to factor in because you don't know what productivity you're going to get out of him, and therefore a lot's going to be on Treylon Burks. Now, one texter on the text line, Caleb, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, said we could get Odell for cheap. I'm not going to have two receivers coming off blown knees.
I don't know how cheap Odell's going to be either. I understand he's coming off a torn ACL, but he was pretty darn good last year before he did. And I understand it's his second ACL, but I think there will be some suitors out there for Odell.
And ultimately I kind of see him going back to the Rams. Yeah, I think it's just they're waiting to let him heal up.
Well, that could be part of why they got rid of Robert Woods to begin with.
Yeah, so I think ultimately he ends up back in L.A. with them, but I wouldn't do that. I would go the cheap route. If you're going to sign a receiver that's a free agent, I would go the cheap route and go with Cole Beasley. Because you need a slot receiver.
Yeah.
Like you don't need one of these two-way guys. Like you need a true slot receiver.
Coming up next, we'll look ahead at tonight's game between the Preds and the Avalanche coming up in Game 2, including a specific area of the Predators that has me very concerned heading into this game. We'll get to that coming up on the other side. Attention men, have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, Hillside Medical Clinic has a breakthrough treatment for ED that does not require any pills, injections, or surgery. And right now, Andrew joins me from Hillside Medical Clinic to tell us all about it. Andrew, what's going on?
Hey there, guys. This is sure helping a lot of couples if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction. We had a spouse tell us the other day that she went into the clinic with her husband feeling like roommates. They went through the treatments. Now they feel like lovers again. So this is the type of thing that acoustic wave therapy is accomplishing. Pressure waves open up the blood vessels, get men off of the pill, and get the blood flowing properly.
So, Andrew, what kinds of studies have been done on this wave therapy technology?
Well, it's pretty extensive. We're approaching 60 third-party studies. I believe it's irrefutable. You've got Cambridge, multiple universities, colleges, and hospitals. They have said safe and effective. It was called the new standard of care for erectile dysfunction.
And, Andrew, you've got a special offer if our listeners call in right now.
That's right. Call us. We'll set you up with the exam, the assessment, the blood flow ultrasound. And this is pretty cool to today only, 20% off treatments. Give us a call now. That is all included.
You heard it, guys. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for that offer at 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your ED and regain your love life. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now at 615-576-5000.
Jump in the mind of an NHL veteran as Predators analyst Hal Gill joins Stillman Company Tuesday afternoons at 5:30.
Here they are in a pressure situation every night because they need 2 points.
And Robby and Rexrode Thursday mornings at 9:30.
Goaltending, I think it might be an issue at some point.
Presented by Duncan on Smashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The versatile Kubota B-Series is a do-it-all tractor, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. You can run powerful attachments that can be easily switched out. The Kubota B-Series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
People of Tennessee, Caesars Sportsbook is giving out first bet insurance for all new users, up to $1,100. Download the app and use promo code RADIOCZR and then place your first bet. If you win, congrats. But if not, you'll get your wager back as a free bet. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager returned only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesar.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Ping I-525 irons and Glide 4.0 wedges. The Ping I-525 irons have a forged steel face, allowing for dynamic distance and a greater feel. The next generation Glide 4.0 specialty wedges are engineered for high spin performance with a lower launch. Get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Come on in at Geodis Park and get closer, bolder, and golder at Nashville SC's. Single match tickets are on sale now at nashvillesc.com/singletix.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Mobil 1 Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Got an older vehicle? Try Mobil 1 Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The Sounds. Play ball.
Deep left center by White. Back is Contreras looking up, and that ball is gone.
The Nashville Sounds continued their series against Norfolk at First Horizon Park.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
ESPN 102.5 The Game is Nashville's official home of NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday at 1:30 for the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway. Also get set for the race with Chasing Checkers with Chase McCabe every Sunday at 8 a.m. on 102.5 The Game. NASCAR on 102.5 The Game, presented by Nashville Super Speedway and Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. Looking ahead to Game 2 tonight between the Predators and the Colorado Avalanche. Puck drop 8:30, pregame 7:30 here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. And Chase, obviously this is one where it's important for the Predators to respond after just a brutal first period the other night against Colorado, where you found yourself down 5-0. And look, let's be honest here. The game, for all intents and purposes, was over after the first period the other night. One part of the equation that, everybody's focusing on the goaltender part of this. Everybody's focusing on the second line and the lack of scoring there with the herd line, all these different things. And I understand all that, and all those are valid concerns. But the one thing that I keep going back to, and this is the case in the last couple of weeks of the regular season, even when Saros was in net, what in the world's happened to the Predators' defense out there? And, you're looking around the other night. Some of it's the penalty kill, but you got, Ekholm, I thought, making some mistakes the other night that you just don't typically see him make. I think it's fair to say that especially lately, Carrier has been up and down. I think Fabro's been up and down. Yossi's gotten caught a few times pinching, which you don't normally see that happening. And then obviously when you're on the road in the playoffs, your third pair can get exposed at time, and they got caught out there a couple of times against the McKinnon line the last game, and that's probably not going to go well most of the time. But you look at the last couple of weeks of the season, and again, some of this is with UC Saros in net. 8 goals against St. Louis, 6 against Tampa, 5 against Minnesota, 5 against Calgary, 4 against Colorado, 5 against Arizona. Like, before you start to worry about everything else, probably the chief message that I have, if you're John Hines, defend. Y'all got to defend better, and it's been bad the last couple of weeks on defense for the Predators.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, the thing that I noticed the most, because you mentioned Josi and Josi making some mistakes. I think what happens with him, and this is a good trait and a bad trait all at the same time. What happens is when the rest of the defense, in this case, isn't living up to expectations and they're not performing, that Josi then has to go into, well, I got to put the team on my back mode, and he tries to do too much, and when he tries to do too much, that's when he makes mistakes. I think we all agree he's one of the best defensemen in the league, could potentially win his second Norris Trophy, and is making a case for even bigger consideration later on. But he still needs some help. LeBron James needs some help. Jordan needed help. Everybody needs, those complementary pieces. And, the other night, Ekholm made some pretty big mistakes that led to some goals. Carrier looked completely lost at times and looked like a rookie. And Fabro, as I said earlier, I think Fabro is what Fabro is. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's elite by any means.
Oh, yeah.
And I think nobody's asking him to be that. But you got to have a defense that's going to be complementary of each other, and they're not doing that right now. And that is a big concern. And that can go back to, is it the system, or because those playing in front of the defense are worn down because they play a defensive style of hockey? The fact that you have the herd that's kind of beat down, does that have a snowball effect on the defense? I think it does. I think that the forwards at times this year covered up for some deficiencies with the defense, and now they're just not doing that. So that is certainly a concern, because you're going to have to play defense to shut down these skilled, players that Colorado has, because you're not going to outskill them at the end of the day. So that's a major concern for me going into game 2. Now, I also go back to what I said earlier. I think you are going to see somewhat of a bounce back, because it can't be as bad as it was the other night.
You wouldn't think. If it is, that's a big problem. And you bring up a good point. Like, I think when you start talking about defense, obviously the first thing you think of is defensemen. You think of goaltending. But the forwards are part of this too. Like, they've got to get back, and when defensemen do pinch, it's your job as a forward to go cover up for those guys. And I just feel like too many times lately there have been some miscommunications on that front. And that's all it takes against a team like Colorado, and they're going to make you pay. So, I thought Jared brought up a good point yesterday in terms of the Jared versus Joe discussion, which is when it's happening with one goalie, maybe it's easy to say at that point, okay, well, the goaltending's got to be better. And don't get me wrong, there are some shots that David Riddick has let in where I'm just like, oh boy, that's not good. But, I mean, Saros got lit up against St. Louis a couple weeks ago. Riddick got lit up when he came in relief against Calgary. Ingram got lit up in the Arizona game as they closed out that game. It can't all be on the goaltending. Like, there's got to be some accountability there for the defensemen and for just the team defense as a whole. There's got to be, I think, a very specific commitment level to that tonight, because Colorado's good enough where you can play really well defensively and they're still going to generate their chances, but you can't help them. And I thought the Predators, I talked about this earlier, I think they helped them way too much in game one.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to build off something, too, that with the forwards, that, playing a defensive style of hockey that we both were talking about. One reason that Eeli Tolvanen was in the lineup for a long time was, even though you didn't want him to necessarily be known for this, you wanted him to score goals, he was playing a defensive style. I mean, he was getting in there and getting in the muddy areas and making plays. That kind of went away. And you can ask the question like we are with the Herd, okay, is it because he's gassed and beat down because of the long season, and so maybe that's why giving him a break isn't a bad thing, that you could put him back in the lineup and get a little bit more of that? I mean, because if he's not going to score for you, at least go out there and bring some of that edge that he had earlier in the year, because like we're talking about, I do think there is a trickle-down effect. If you have the forwards that are playing that type of hockey that are backing up the defense, then the defense is going to play stronger, and then therefore it's going to take pressure off the goaltender. And you got to take pressure off the goaltender right now, whether it's Riddick or Connor Ingram, because you don't have Saros that can steal you a game. I don't think you're not going to expect a rookie goaltender in Connor Ingram to steal you a game in the playoffs, because he's just trying to keep his head above water at this point. David Riddick, I don't believe, is capable of stealing you a game in the playoffs. So you're going to have to play as more of a cohesive unit if you want to try and get by until maybe you can get Saros back later in the round.
Well, and this is such a simple theory that I think sometimes people lose sight of it. But I do buy into it. Like, if you defend well, it's going to lead to more offense. Like, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
If you defend better, Colorado's going to have to puck less. So you're going to have more chances offensively. I mean, you tell me. I know Duchesne scored twice the other night, one of them on the power play, and one of them he got behind the D, and there was a great stretch pass from Granlund. But how much sustained offensive zone time did the Predators have the other night? How threatening were they?
Not a lot.
Not very at all. So, defending may not sound like it has anything to do with that, but the better you defend, the more you're going to have the puck, and the more threatening you can be offensively, and that's got to be a point of emphasis for the Preds as they look ahead to Game 2 coming up tonight. Speaking of Game 2, it is time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 for your opportunity to guess the goal scorer for the Predators tonight in Game 2. If you get it right, you want a pair of tickets before you can buy them to see Michael Bublé coming up at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, August 16th, and be qualified to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025, The Game.
Join Chase McCain for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Super Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be developing this afternoon, evening, and overnight, some of which will be strong to severe, so stay weather aware.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer, so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Attention, buckaroos! It's time for the Franklin Rodeo, so saddle up and hold on to your lasso. It's 3 days of bull riding, calf roping, western wear, funny clowns, and some of the most talented horses you've ever seen. Join the Stampede from May 19th to May 21st. The Franklin Rodeo is held at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park and is brought to you by Franklin, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Williamson Medical Center, Wesley Mortgage, and Event 1FX. Tickets on sale now at franklinrodeo.com. It's a buckin' good time.
Parman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Parman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
So, what is Jared Stillman gonna say this afternoon?
You got to play if you want to earn $14.6 million next year.
Oh, brother, here we go.
But I'm done on investing money in dudes that can't get on the field.
Tune in to Stillman and Company, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
This is some serious stuff right here.
Delivered by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Robby and Rexrode is on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. It is that time of the day, time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. The Nashville Predators in action in Game 2 tonight between the Preds and the Colorado Avalanche. Puck drop at 8:30, pregame at 7:30 here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. And
we'll have a little
tickets.
Preds Extra, too.
Oh, a little Preds Extra
starting at
tonight.
6 with Mr. Max Hers.
Oh, boy. Max Hers bringing the noise tonight on Preds Extra starting at 6 o'clock. The standings in Preds Pick to Click are as such. There's a lot of pressure on Chase McCabe today. The listeners and Joe Rexrode are tied at 19 correct answers apiece, which means Chase is picking for Joe today. Robby with 17. Michelle with a late season surge. Now just 2 behind me with 15 correct answers. So the competition is fierce heading down into the playoffs. And with that in mind, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in today's participant, Jonathan in Hendersonville. Jonathan, thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
You got to go with Duchesne.
Going with Matt Duchesne. Jonathan, we appreciate you calling in.
All right, thank you.
So Matt Duchesne scores twice the other night. So Jonathan rolling with a hot hand. By the way, crowd favorite up there in Colorado, Matt Duchesne,
time.
every time he touches the puck. So Duchesne off the board. I'm up first today in the competition.
See, I think the caller fell into the trap a little bit, so it kind of set it up nicely for us.
Normally, obviously, with 2 40-goal scorers, the first 2 picks this year have been pretty automatic, some combination of Forsberg and Duchesne. Forsberg, he just kind of looked invisible out there in the last game. Having said that, I'm going Philip Forsberg with my selection. Duchesne and Forsberg are off the board.
Give it to me.
Chase, you were picking for Rexrode. Duchesne and Forsberg off the board. Your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators.
This is okay. So one, if I'm picking for Rexrode, do I just want to screw with him and just go Borowiecki, or do I want? Yeah,
I just say you do whatever you want.
Yeah, no. Actually, this strategy has yeah, he'll complain no matter what. So this strategy has worked out for me because my initial thought is now right here in front of me. I am going with the man with the slow hand, Ryan Johansson.
I like it.
We're vibing.
Ryan Johansson.
Hey, Rob.
Hello.
We vibing?
How's it going? Duchesne, Forsberg, and Johansson off the board. Michelle Knesvik, your selection in Preds pick to click.
Chase, do you see me giving you the eyes? You stole my
Are you
pick.
giving me the double bird?
No, I think I'd get fired.
Going into vacation on style.
I think I'd get fired. I'm not going to give my boss a double bird.
I wouldn't fire you for that.
Oh, cool.
I'd fire you for much less.
Oh. Well, I gave a vibe-in hint earlier. I was going to pick Ryan Johansson, but a close second, the captain, Mr. Roman Josi.
Roman Josi.
The best hair in the
so,
NHL.
Duchesne, Forsberg, Johansson, and Josi, the selections today in Preds pick to click, and we'll see if someone besides Matt Duchesne can get on the board tonight. No disrespect to you, Jonathan. Maybe Duchesne will get on the board too, but it was Matt Duchesne, the lone goal scorer for the Predators in the first game against Colorado. Need to see more out of those guys 5-on-5. I thought the power play, I know they scored a power play goal, but really, other than that kind of broken play sequence there, power play didn't look very good the other night for the Predators. Obviously, that's going to have to be a factor as they move forward, but you need more from Johansson and Forsberg and Duchesne 5-on-5. They got to be a much bigger factor tonight.
I completely agree with that, but where I'll take it a step further. This is a game where I think you really need like Geno or Trennan or even Sissons to put the puck in the back of the net for you. I mean, Trennan was trending towards potentially being a 20-goal scorer, and just they dried up for him, and he got stuck on 17. I think it's been late March since he scored, and that was the 2-goal game that he had. I think that this is the prime spot for Tanner Jeannot or Yakov Trenin to add to the scoring column. But I 100% agree that you got to get more chances if you're that top line. I mean, you just have to. I mean, this is where Forsberg has to go earn his money because you need him to show up in a game like this, and that has been historically, an issue at times with where you have a big time star for the Predators that doesn't show up when it counts, and so that's what needs to happen. And he has in the past. Josi has in the past. Duchesne obviously scored twice the other night in the loss, so that's a good thing. But I think this could be, if they're going to win, this is the type of game where you're going to have one of those guys that is in the bottom six or middle six that is going to do something for you, and then also you're going it, and a lot of that is going to be because you're getting such an effort and such pressure from the top line.
Let's go to our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Rob from Clarksville texting in says, it just feels like a miserable summer ahead for the Preds. Lost Saros, choked to Arizona, looked terrible against the Avs. Praying to God we get Filthy Phil back, but, man, it doesn't look great. It is interesting. I was thinking about this the other night. As the game's going on and Forsberg's out there, I thought back to the conversation that Darren, Daunic, and Chase, you guys had with Poyle a few weeks ago in terms of the conversations kind of being put on halt come playoff time. I said this yesterday. I've kind of long since thought that the contract would have been figured out by now, and the fact that it's not, to me, is pretty concerning. Obviously, that's not top of mind right now if you're the Predators and you're worried about the playoff series against Colorado, but I don't think you can help if you're a Predators fan, but to somewhat have that in the back of your mind until it's either done or resolved in some way or the other.
Yeah, and if you're Phillip, just from the human aspect of it, even though you're locked in and you're focused on the playoffs, it's lingering. Like, it's still in the back of your mind that you can't say that it's 100% worry-free. I mean, who's to say that he's not, sitting there thinking about the game and it trickles into his mind. Who knows? He could be having a dream about it. Like, I mean, it's going to be there. It's going to linger until it's done, and they're not going to get it done until now after the playoffs, if they get it done at all. So, and I think it's affected him. I do. I think down the stretch, it certainly had an effect on how he played. Now he got to 42 goals or whatever it was. But let's be honest here. the way he was playing at times,
I thought he might get 50.
He should have passed Duchesne. Like, nothing against Duchesne. Duchesne should not have been the leading goal scorer on this team. It should have been Forsberg. But I think there were just a lot of different factors that went into that, and therefore he didn't get there. So I wonder, if how much of an effect that's going to have in this series. But like we said, we could sit here tomorrow. I'll be in here with you tomorrow. We could sit here tomorrow and talk about the Preds come back in Game 2. They win, that you had Forsberg and that top line playing like they should, that, the Herd looked good again, the defense played well, and Connor Ingram gets his first career playoff win, because I think we both believe Ingram's in net.
Dustin in Hopkinsville texting in says, one thing they need to do is target their superstars and hit them. Not illegally, just continually hit McKinnon, get in the goalie's crease, do all the things and play defense in front of our net. I think if you do those things successfully, you'll ultimately slow the game down and get momentum on offense. This coming from Dustin from Hopkinsville. So that's going back to the point of playing more your style of game, which the Predators never got to in Game 1.
I think to Dustin's point, you want to make guys like Landeskog and McKinnon uncomfortable. Rantanen, make them uncomfortable. Not try to hurt them, but just make them uncomfortable. Make them have to play a game that they don't want to play.
Yep.
That's where the Predators can have the advantage, and I think they probably had that as the game plan the other night. They just couldn't execute it because they were in the box.
Taylor Lewan has just tweeted in all capital letters to the Preds official account, Nashville Hockey Town, good luck tonight, boys, with a picture of him with a catfish. So the Hockey Town tweet, again, making up for his mistake the other night of tweeting that while the Predators were losing 2-0 to the Colorado Avalanche, and he thought they were up 2-0. Good for Taylor Lewan.
I have just
amending his mistake.
I have just tweeted back at Taylor Lewan saying, quote, I love you.
You win some, you lose some.
That's right. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Predators all show long. We'll have Hal Gill coming up at 9:30, give his thoughts in advance of Game 2. Looking forward to that one coming up later in the show. I've got some tickets to give away, a pair of tickets before you can buy them to see Michael Bublé coming up at Bridgestone Arena on Tuesday, August 16th, and be qualified to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025 for your chance to win those tickets and to qualify for the $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card. The tickets go on sale for the Bublé concert, by the way, tomorrow at 10 a.m., and your next chance to win is tomorrow with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Number 1 on the tee. This is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. Having repeated as SEC champions, Vanderbilt men's golf now focuses on the NCAA postseason. With the regional draw announced on Wednesday, Scott Limbaugh's Commodores are one of the top national seeds, number 1 in the Palm Beach Gardens region, and headed to PGA National to compete against a loaded field. SEC runner-up Florida is the number 2 seed, then Notre Dame, Florida State, and Purdue to round out the top 5. Vanderbilt will enter the postseason as one of the favorites to score that program's first NCAA title. Senior Harrison Ott said they talked before the SEC tournament about playing with that target.
There's no reason to give other teams, any more motivation to beat us, but to go out there, trusting your teammates and doing the same thing, I think was the main key. Just having immense trust in that everyone was going to be there and everyone was going to kind of be in every round was a big thing.
The Vandy squad has had an amazing spring with 5 wins and a second-place finish in 6 events. 3 weeks to play in the SEC baseball season. Vanderbilt visits Georgia this weekend, sitting at 10-11 in conference play with 9 games to go before Hoover, a 5:30 start on Friday. Ticket sales are in full swing for the 2022 Vanderbilt football season. Group sales and mini plans are available for season ticket holders and National Commodore Club members. The general public can buy those starting on Thursday. Vanderbilt lacrosse plays Temple tonight in the American Conference Tournament, a 6:30 start in Greenville, North Carolina. That is the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Huckleberry Brewing is now open. Formerly Cool Springs Brewery. New owners, new look, fabulous menu, and same great location. So come on out and join us for a watch party Thursday, May 5th with ESPN The Game, as we're proud to be an official Predators watch party destination. Come cheer on our Preds and enjoy one or all of our great craft beers. Our master brewer and friendly staff can't wait to meet you. Bring the kids and let them enjoy the game room. Huckleberry Brewing is located at 600A Fraser Drive next to Sperry's in Cool Springs.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Sell your car the easy way. Go online and sell it today. We buy any car. Any. Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
It's Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Konezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Chase in for Joe the next 2 days. We'll be breaking down Game 2 for you tomorrow coming up in the aftermath. I mean, I assume the game will be over by the time we're on the air tomorrow. There's a chance, I guess, that it won't be. Go 5 or 6 OTs deep, you'd be pushing it.
Yeah, just once, and I don't want it to be tomorrow because I don't want either one of us to have to experience this, but that would be kind of funny. And there were times, so that the triple overtime game that happened, I think I was doing mornings, and it was kind of like, do I go to bed at this point? Yeah. Or do I just, come in, get through 4 hours, and then go home and go to sleep? I don't remember what I did, but
you don't go to bed.
Yeah, because I left Bridgestone Arena probably at 2:15 in the morning.
Yeah,
after that, because that was an 8:30 start.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, the running joke used to be you get an 8:30 start at some point, which there's 3 of them in the first 4 games here in this series. At some point, that thing is going to overtime, and it's going to be late.
Yeah.
I think back to that. I think it was the San Jose series. It's like, oh. All these games are going to freaking overtime at 8:30 starts.
That was something. that game, because I would, in my routine in those days when I did the locker room interview, I would basically at the 10-minute mark of the third period, I'd go down to the media room. So you were always in there, and Adam and everybody's just hanging out, and I'd watch the end of the game there, and then we'd go to the locker room.
Yeah,
and it's tied. So in playoffs, obviously you have intermissions because you play the full period. So I'd go back up to Barrel House and help Darren out and do a segment, then go back down to the media room, and I did that 3 times that night. So I got my steps in, and then Mike Fisher finally ends it, and Brent Peterson is still
loses
screaming.
His mind. Yes, it was awesome.
It's amazing.
We'll have Hal Gill coming up at 9:30. Preds radio analyst. We'll look ahead to Game 2 tonight between the Predators and the Colorado Avalanche. We had a lot of discussion earlier in the show, Chase, about Ryan Tannehill. And obviously, a lot's been made of the comments about Malik Willis. And, I don't think it's my job to mentor Malik Willis. And people have offered their thoughts the last couple of days on that. I mean, there were a lot of really interesting things that I thought Tannehill said in that press conference. And Willie Daunic timed it out yesterday. 17 minutes and 19 seconds worth of answers from Tannehill the other day at his press conference. A couple of the things that really stood out to me, aside from the Malik Willis part of this, was, he admitted how kind of in a dark place he was after the Cincinnati game, admitted that therapy was a part of it and that he's been doing that for a while, but this is the first time that, he kind of really needed it to pull himself through a situation. Seems like he's on the other side of that now and is ready to move on and prepare for this season, but I thought that part was interesting. I thought he was really honest about the A.J. Brown situation, which I don't know what I expected from Tannehill heading into that, but you know how sometimes Tannehill press conferences can be and quarterbacks around the league. Very few are not boring, for lack of a better term. Like Rodgers typically says what he wants to say. A couple other guys that you can throw out there that say what they want to say, but I thought he was pretty open about the A.J. Brown move, how much that hurt him, and how much of a gut punch it was to him. And, I guess my expectations heading into the Tannehill press conference were for it to be more, we're focused on moving forward, and that's how he would handle it. And to his credit, I thought he really didn't. That was about as open and honest as I think he's been in a press conference setting.
Yeah, and you know what? All of this stuff coming together, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing for him, because I think that he plays much better when he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I've used the term that he's kind of made the heel turn because people have turned against him. I mean, they turned him, I guess is how I should really put it. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if he can take that energy and focus it on being motivated to improve on last year, because he did take some ownership. Granted, it was 3 months after the fact, but he did take some ownership finally of throwing 3 picks in the game and losing in the playoffs to the Bengals. And I think what makes it hurt even worse, and you don't know how it all shakes out, but the fact that the Bengals end up going to the Super Bowl and were in contention to win the Super Bowl at the end, that you think, man, the Titans could have certainly done that. But I think that I think that if he can use this all as motivation, that's only going to lead to good things. Now, overall, and I saw a texter on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com earlier that, would you be okay if the Titans took a step back if they could take 2 steps forward, the next year? And that's all contingent on all these draft picks working out, basically. That you got rid of A.J. Brown, but you brought in Treylon Burks, that Treylon Burks has a rookie year and has his rookie moments, but then by year 2, you're starting to see the production really come together. Robert Woods heals from the ACL, and you get more out of him. I think that I would be okay with that if I knew that was going to be a guarantee. And does that mean that Tannehill's the quarterback, or does that mean Malik Willis is the quarterback? What does that mean? So I think you have to focus on the right now and see how it all shakes out. But as for Tannehill, I appreciated the honesty. If therapy is what he needed to get through that, then more power to him. Now let's see what he does with it and how he can bounce back coming into the season.
Well, and to that point, there's, we talk about the taking one step back to take a couple steps forward. I hear that, but then the other part of me is also like, you still have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry right now is your best player.
Mm-hmm.
And how long is Derrick Henry going to be at this level? I don't know. Is he going to be at this level this year? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, he's coming off a major foot injury, and, you're watching the videos he's coming out with right now. It looks like he's okay and that he's the Derrick Henry of old, but we'll have to see what happens when he steps on the field. I mean, the last body of work we have for Derrick Henry was 20 carries for 66 yards or whatever it was in the playoff game, which was not good enough in that game. So I hear the taking one step back to take 2 steps forward, but how much longer are you going to have Derrick Henry at this level? I think that's a fair question to ask, and I think that's why Rexrode was as upset as he is at the A.J. Brown trade. Of your window to win, it feels like is right now, and that's the way the Titans have viewed it, and it almost feels like they're not viewing it that way anymore with some of the decisions that they've made.
Well, okay, let's play on that for a second, because I think you bring up a really good point with Derrick Henry and what exactly is this window with him now, because we all know what the last several years have looked like for him. 303 carries, 1540 in 2019, 378, 2027 in 2020. He was on pace to break his own record and to shatter everything. He was going to be over 400 carries. He was going to be over 2,000 yards at 219 and 937 when he got hurt in playing 8 games last year. But let's go on the premise for a second that he comes down to earth a little bit because of the injury and because of where he is in his career. He's going to be 28 years old, and granted, he didn't carry the ball a lot his first 2 years in the league. He didn't carry the ball a ton, most of his time at Alabama outside of his last year. So there was tread left on the tires. But let's just say he comes down to earth and he's a 1,300-yard rusher. What does this team look like if that's the case? If he's kind of the normal good running back, which I think you would agree that the good running backs in this league, if you have a 13 to 1,400-yard year, that's a good year.
Oh yeah, especially in today's NFL.
Yeah, you're not gonna be mad at that. But let's say he does that. What is this team? What does the record look like?
It's a great question because, part of their identity this year, they're always going to be a team that runs the football. But I think part of their identity and their strength that you feel good about this year is their defense. I mean, on paper, they should have a great defense this year. Mm-hmm. So that kind of lends itself more to that running style offensively of you feel good about the defense, limiting the points as much as you can in today's NFL. Like, I don't know that we'll ever see the days of the 2000 Ravens rolling around here ever again, just because the league it's so set up now for the offenses to thrive that I don't know, points per game wise, it'll ever get back down to that. But you feel pretty good about this Titans defense on paper heading into next year. That should lend you to being a team that likes to run the football. What does that look like for Derrick Henry? How much of a difference is there between the way he looked at the beginning of last year and the way he looks now? And I'll throw this one at you, Chase. How much does the injury that he had last year influence the way you use him as you move forward if you're the Titans? Look, I'm not smart enough to tell you whether or not the workload was a reason why Derrick Henry got hurt. It could have been just as simple as you make the wrong plant at the wrong time and the foot breaks. I have no clue as to whether or not wear and tear was a part of that. But now he has been hurt, and there has been a major injury, and you have drafted a running back in the 4th round in Hassan Haskins. How much of that is not only maybe Haskins being a running back of the future to some degree, but also maybe in the present, taking some of that workload off of Derrick Henry?
Yeah, no, I think to answer your question is it's going to be dictated on what Hilliard and Haskins look like, in training camp and it really in preseason, the start of the season. And here's the other part of it too. How much, last year Mike Vrabel didn't want to play anybody in the preseason. And it showed. It showed in that first game against Arizona. Everybody looked off kilter. And they really kind of looked that way for the first month of the season because they didn't play. You didn't play anybody in the preseason because you didn't want to get them hurt. Does Mike Vrabel rethink that strategy a little bit? I don't think it would be an awful idea in that second preseason game to give Henry a quarter, just to see what he's got. See if that explosiveness is there, if he can make those cuts. Because you go back and watch the game against Cincinnati, he had 66 yards. He was going the opposite direction a lot because he was going against the foot, not putting a ton of pressure on that foot. Is that going to go away, or is that where he is at this point? Is it uncomfortable because he's got the plate and the screws or whatever that's in there that it just feels weird to him that he can't make those cuts like he used to? And then the other part is, if Haskins looks the part, like everybody thinks maybe he could, then that changes your way of thinking a little bit.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Titans and their offense. What do you make of their offense as they head into the 2022 season without A.J. Brown? 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Make sure you tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:35 on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds take on the Norfolk Tides, the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, at First Horizon Park. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9, presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Spirited Hive. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't forget to grab your mom something special this year. Shop at Social Furniture for their Mother's Day sale, where everything is in stock. They have sofas, bedroom sets, and top-name brand new mattresses like Purple, Serta, Sealy, and Simmons on sale now. Running out of time? Well, at Social Furniture, there's no waiting and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Realizing Geico has over 85 years of experience saving folks money and providing great customer service is like realizing there's a crumb tray on the bottom of your toaster, and you don't have to keep turning the toaster upside down to clean it.
How long has that been there? Hey, who needs some croutons?
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or realizing that baby carrots are just regular carrots that have been shaved down.
I don't care. They're still cute.
It's something you can't believe you never realized before. Like how Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating means Geico is committed to providing the best service for their customers. Or how you can peel the top layer of tape off a lint roller and there's a fresh layer underneath.
Marcy, wait till you hear about the lint roller.
You mean how the handle is reusable?
Wait, what?
Trust. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Nashville's Anheuser-Busch distributor, Ajax Turner Company, is hiring Class A drivers and driver trainees who will obtain their Class A license through the company's very own driver training and testing program for free. Be home every day and off on weekends while earning competitive wages and receiving benefits like medical and life insurance, paid time off, 401k, and supplemental insurance programs. Apply at ajaxturner.com/career or call 615-280-3904. Anheuser-Busch reminds you to drink responsibly.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
40 spas on display from Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select.
Prices starting as low as $29.99.
Family Leisure has over 100 sets of patio furniture with free delivery.
That sounds good to me, too.
We should really look at the wood play gyms for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. Family Leisure's vacation at home sale in Franklin and Antioch.
Summer heat is on the way. Is your air conditioner ready? Costs are rising everywhere. Groceries, gas, utilities, you name it. Is your AC old, inefficient, and costing more than it should? Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Qualified buyers have up to 72 months no interest for a new York air conditioner and 6 months no interest for repairs. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company. Schedule now at springhillac.com.
Arthritis and rheumatic conditions are leading causes of disabilities among adults. Joint replacement could be the solution. The team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics approaches each case with a complete evaluation to see if surgery is right for you. Houston Clinic Orthopedics specializes in arthritis, hip, knee, and shoulder replacements, hip fractures, osteoarthritis of the hip, and joint pain. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Make sure, if you've not done it yet, you check us out, and there's a new way to hear us on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game. You can check us out on 106.3 from downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24 as well. You've now got two great choices to hear our sports programming and the Nashville Predators. Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset. We got a text the other day from somebody in Nolensville enjoying it very thoroughly on 106.3. So make sure you check that out.
I was downtown the other day and turned on 106.3 going through downtown and was able to listen to it all the way here to our station here on Murfreesboro Road. So it's a fantastic signal, and just another way to hear us. So check it out.
That's right. Got Hal Gill coming up at 9:30. We'll get his thoughts on the Preds as they take on the Avalanche in Game 2 coming up tonight. Right now, taking your thoughts on the Titans on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Mike texting in says, what makes people think that a third-round draft pick is going to step in and lead the Titans to the Super Bowl next year? There's a reason he was passed on 85 times before the Titans picked him. He transferred to Liberty because he couldn't get on the field at Auburn. This is coming from Mike in Murfreesboro.
Well, I'm not going to say this is what's going to happen, but I'm going to give you an example. Wikipedia guy named Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Wilson was a third-round pick. They paid Matt Flynn a ton of money to be the starter in Seattle, and Wilson beat him out in training camp. And Wilson transferred too.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get on the field. So, well, I think baseball had something to do with that too. But, you know, there were some other things. But, I'm not comparing Malik Willis to Russell Wilson by any means, but it can happen. Dak Prescott was a fourth-round pick, had no business playing, and Tony Romo got hurt, so they had no choice, and he ended up winning the job, and Romo retired and is now on CBS. So that kind of thing can happen. I don't think it's a part of the plan, but everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Mike Tyson.
Well, and look, you know, Malik Willis, I have no clue if it's going to work out with him. I mean, there's a lot of physical traits that you like.
I don't think the Titans have a clue if it's going to work out.
If it's going to work out. But at the spot where they took him, I think it's worth the risk at that point. And if it works out, great. I mean, I would assume, I guess, still, if you ask John Robinson, probably the way that he'd like to see it play out is for Ryan Tannehill to be really good this year and the Titans win the AFC South again and make some noise in the playoffs, and then him to be the quarterback again the year after that. Like, I would assume that would still be John Robinson's preferred way of doing things. I just know Titans fans hear the idea of Tannehill being the quarterback not only this year but the one after right now, and that just makes them want to throw up at this point.
Yeah, because he's not a sexy name. That's what it is. It's the same thing with the whole John Hines hatred, that because John Hines wasn't the sexy name that everybody wanted, which I don't even know who that was at the time when they hired him. Probably what's his name that's in Vegas now was probably the other name, but
yeah,
it was because it wasn't the name that everybody wanted. It's like, you just hate him all of a sudden. And Tannehill is not that
Peter DeBoer, by the way.
Peter DeBoer, thank you, is not that sexy name. That it's just everybody has turned on him. But here's the deal: if he goes out and he balls out this year, and they win the AFC South, and they make a run at it, doesn't necessarily mean they win the Super Bowl, but they make a run at it, he's going to be the quarterback next year. Well, what about the salary cap? This is where I will agree with Jared. I don't think it's fake, but this is where they figure it out. They will manipulate the crap out of it to make it work.
Up a lot too.
Yeah, it's going to go up. So that's going to help too.
And
but
you're not paying A.J. Brown $25 million a year in wide receiver.
That's another thing. You have saved yourself a ton of money by trading A.J. Brown and drafting Treylon Burks, who's now on a rookie deal, so you don't have to worry about that. And that helps a lot. And I think, to your point, and we were talking about this in the last segment, I think the defense is going to be pretty good. Now, I am curious to see, Harold Landry's got the money now. Is he as effective as he was last year, or does he come back down a little bit? That's always a thought. I think Bud Dupree probably takes a step forward because I think he's fully healed from the ACL. So this is where you're really going to see the benefit of signing Bud Dupree. Walker that they drafted, that got hurt. Now this is the bonus year. He's basically a rookie because he got hurt. And so what do you have in him? I think they're going to have a pretty good pass rush. And then Jeff Simmons is, basically going to be like, hold my beer so he can go get his money.
Yes.
Which basically you traded A.J. Brown knowing that you were going to sign Jeff Simmons at some point.
Well, and now you've got money to do a lot of those things. And I agree, the Bud Dupree part of it is intriguing to me because I felt like toward the end of last year he was finally healthy and he started to come on. And it wasn't always in the sack total, but he made some pretty big impacts on games coming down the stretch. I mean, he was a force in that Cincinnati game. And, I mean, we know how that played out. They got 9 sacks in the game and still lost because the quarterback threw 3 interceptions. So that's what everybody's been talking about for the past few months. But defensively, I mean, that's when I go back to the second-round pick when you're drafting McCreary. Like, the one weak spot that I was concerned about on this defense heading into the draft was corner, because you're putting a lot of eggs in the Caleb Farley basket to come in and to not only be healthy, but to play at an elite level at cornerback position. I mean, keeping this in mind, Caleb Farley hadn't played that much cornerback in his life. I mean, he had basically one good year at Virginia Tech doing it, and then he was hurt the next year, and then he had training camp last year in 6 games, and he was hurt last year. It's not been a whole lot of time that Caleb Farley has spent. Now, I think athletically, if he's healthy, there's obviously a reason why he went the place that he did. But now you've shored that up, and on paper, and I know the game's not played on paper, just ask the Titans offense from last year. On paper, you're feeling really darn good about this defense.
I made up a player, by the way. It's Weaver, not Walker. Rashad Weaver.
I didn't even catch that you said that. So
I called him Walker. So I made somebody up that, but his defense. Then I honestly think that they'll be fine. Now, they're going to have to score points, but they did address the offense. They did this year what they did last year in the draft. For the defense, they addressed the offense more this year. Now, again, how's it all going to pan out? You're still going to see, Rashad Weaver is a prime example of that they, he was part of the defense that they addressed, but then he got hurt. He was a non-factor. Can he be a factor this year?
Right.
Can you get more out of this draft class right now than you have the last couple of draft classes where it's not, a year down the line and a wait and see?
Well, and then offensively, everybody's so focused on wide receiver right now, which I totally understand, and I am too. But your tight end room is almost totally different than it was last year. You got Jeff Swain back, and I think that was
and I like that move.
Yeah, I like bringing him back, and I think especially in the run game and the blocking game, he can be effective for you. But you've now drafted Okonkwo in the 4th round who has some physical traits. I mean, TD's compared him to Jonnu Smith in terms of his build and his athleticism. And you've got Austin Hooper coming in, which, we've seen Austin Hooper in this league be a really good player. When he left Atlanta and went to Cleveland, I thought, this is a guy that's an ascending tight end. And it hadn't worked out. It didn't work out all that well for him in Cleveland. Now, it didn't work all that well for Odell Beckham in Cleveland, and then he went to L.A. and was immediately good. Wasn't that great for Jarvis Landry the last couple of years. Some of that has to do with injury as well. So I wonder how much of the passing game not doing well in Cleveland may rest on Baker Mayfield's shoulders. But you've at least, I think, significantly upgraded the potential of your tight end room. And that could be a big security blanket for Tannehill this year.
Yeah, no, I think it will be. And I don't think you even have you don't need Austin Hooper to necessarily be 100% of what he was in Atlanta, but I think he has to be better than Cleveland. I just think he will be because we know that Tannehill likes to use the tight end. I mean, he likes the quick check down to the tight end. You saw it with Jonnu Smith, like you were saying. So I feel like that will be good. Chig, I really like. I thought that was a underrated pick that people were talking about a little bit. So, yeah, I think overall it obviously all has to pan out. Everybody has to be healthy. And that's the other thing. Surely you're not going to have the injuries as stack up like they did.
I hope not.
Last year. If they do, then you got other problems that you got to address. But I think that's going to be another part of it. If you can just stay healthy and all this play out on paper, then you'll probably be fine.
Hopefully the Titans just spend all offseason like just continuously stretching their hamstring, ready to go for next year. Just get rid of those hamstring injuries. We'll see what happens on that front. Join 102.5 The Game and myself tomorrow at the food court in Rivergate Mall from 12:30 to 2:30 and get entered to win a pair of tickets to see the Preds take on the Colorado Avalanche coming up in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Rivergate Mall food court tomorrow from 12:30 to 2:30. Speaking of the Preds, coming up next we'll be joined by Skillsy, Hal Gill, to get his thoughts on the Preds as they look forward to Game 2 tonight between the Preds and the Avalanche. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this
is Smashville.
That's to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using the code 1025GAME, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials, all my favorites. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Sign up today and find out why nothing beats a win at the king of sportsbooks. Download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and enter code 1025GAME and place your first wager risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
The Metal Tour of the Year. Megadeth, Lamb of God, with special guests, Trivium and In Flames. This Friday, Bridgestone Arena. 4 of metal's biggest artists share the stage for one epic night. This is a buck-up. On sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com. Megadeth, Lamb of God, with special guests, Trivium and In Flames.
Now through May 10th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends May 10th. See club for details.
Attention, buckaroos! It's time for the Franklin Rodeo, so saddle up and hold on to your lasso. It's 3 days of bull riding, calf roping, western wear, funny clowns, and some of the most talented horses. Franklin, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. In good time.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. Game 2 coming up tonight between the Preds and the Avalanche. Puck drop at 8:30, pregame at 7:30 here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Check out Preds Extra tonight at 6 o'clock as well with Max Hurd. So we'll have you covered all things Nashville Predators tonight in advance of Game 2 between Nashville and Colorado. Taking your thoughts on the Preds on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We are efforting Hal Gill, but in the meantime, Chase McCabe, there is a decision for John Hines to make tonight. Personally, I don't really think it's that much of a decision. I know he said yesterday that he had a decision in mind, was going to sleep on it. But to me, doesn't it have to be Connor Ingram in net tonight? I understand that the Predators were bad in front of Riddick the other day, but we brought it up earlier, the expected goals stat that gets tossed around in NHL circles all the time, and Adam Vingan put this out yesterday I think Sportlogic was the service that has it. An expected goals of 0.87 for David Riddick, and he let in 5.
Yeah.
That's it's not good enough. And the Predators, there's no question about it, they have to be better defensively. We talked about that in the last hour, but I think I would be shocked if it's not Connor Ingram tonight.
Yeah, I would too. I think simply for the fact of you just got to change the mojo, and sometimes you change the goaltender. You change the goaltender, and you can change the mojo. So I think that's what they need to do.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Hal Gill, Preds radio analyst. Skillsy, what's going on? How's life?
Just getting up and getting ready to see what today is going to bring us.
I would say so. So, Skillsy, we appreciate you joining us this morning. So what did you make, obviously, of the first period in Game 1? Can't happen again in Game 2, but I guess if you're the Predators, how do you reset from a performance like that and just move ahead to the next game here in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, hey, I won't lie to you. I would take that one pretty tough. They took it on the chin, and that was a rough one. But, Colorado, were they good? Yeah, they came out fast, and they were moving. But the Preds were just out of sorts. I've never seen them play that poorly. They were just bad reads, bad step-ups, bad plays all around. The first 5 minutes was just awful. So they know they're better than that. They know that they can play better than that. And so, I think they put that behind them. They did some things that they saw, okay, we can get rewarded if we put the pucks behind the D later in the game. We can get behind them and we can make some plays. So they know what they need to do. They just need to go out and execute. It's going to be another loud building they're going to come out hot. You're going to have to weather the storm again. It's not going to be easier, but I think they went through that. They experienced it. Now they just have to overcome that. And hopefully tonight it starts.
All right, Hal, you're going to tell me if I'm right or wrong in this evaluation, but I feel like that there are times where if the rest of the team is not playing well, and I'm not saying he is, he gets excuses for mistakes that he may make, but if the rest of the team, the rest of the defense specifically isn't playing well, that Yossi tries to put the team on his back, he tries to do Yossi things, like you say, and tries to do too much, and therefore that can lead to him making some mistakes as well. And that's him being a leader, that's him being the captain and the type of player that he is. But do you buy that?
Absolutely. Yeah, he does try to do too much. The problem is I'll too much, and he gets away with it, and it works sometimes. And when everyone else tries to do too much, and I think you saw that, one mistake is okay. 2 mistakes piling up is trouble. Then 3 mistakes, then it's certainly in the back of your net. And I think the Preds, and I'm not even talking about Yossi yet. I'm talking about the Preds. One guy gets beat, another guy goes to fill in. The next thing you know, the pass has been passed twice, and now they're on a breakaway. And that's what the Preds did a lot of. And so that's not Yossi. That's all the defense, including Ekholm. Ekholm made some, tried to cover up for his teammate and went and put himself out of the play, and it went through the whole lineup. The thing with Yost is that when he does do that, more often than not, he's a good enough skater that he can recover from trying to do too much. But this team is fast, and they were playing fast. They moved pucks quickly, and they're big and strong on pucks, so that you can't just lean on a guy and knock him off the play. They're coming in the net. They're going fast. They're going hard, and they're strong. So you have to be on your game. You can't be recovering from a mistake all the time. And so, yeah, I think Yost does do that. I think you're right. I just think that was the whole team that was doing that as well.
Hal Gill on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Hal, obviously it wasn't all on David Riddick the other night, and you mentioned it. The Predators, they've got to be way better in front of regardless of who the goaltender is tonight. But did you see enough from Connor Ingram in Game 1 to make you think that he's going to be the starter tonight in Game 2 for the Preds?
Yeah, I thought he looked good. He looked calm. He made some saves. It is different when you go through that first 5 minutes. That first 5 minutes of the game is a whole different thing. And, I don't know if I blame Devon Taves' goal. I think Riddick could have had that one, probably should have had that one. But there's a lot of things that were happening pretty fast, and with a porous defense like that, I don't know if I blame Riddick all that much. I think that was a team thing. So, as well as Ingram did come in and play well, I think you have two goalies that obviously you have one goalie you really love to have back and have him in the lineup in Saros, but you have two goalies that you're going to have to try to make it work with. And I wasn't totally depressed by Riddick, and I wasn't totally overjoyed with Ingram. I think there's a happy medium.
Hal Gill is with us. Besides the obvious of putting the puck in the back of the net, what's something more that you want to see out of the Beast line and Trenton, Sissons, and Jeannot? Because it does feel like that they have lost a little bit of that magic that we've seen over the course of the last year or so.
Yeah, I think what I'm seeing with that line is it's hard to explain, but it's body position. Really all over the ice. Defensively, in order for them to be good, they need to be on the defensive side, and hey, it's Cale Makar, and he beats Tanner Jeannot down the boards, but it's Cale Makar, so don't go out at Cale Makar. Let him stay at the point and try to deal with it, So get body position, stay in between him and the goal, and I'm talking about the ridiculous move from Makar down the boards and short side shelf. So defensively, I think that line needs to stay on the defensive side. But more importantly, I think offensively, they need to get in, get the puck behind their D and hit their D so that their D can't join the rush. I'm talking about Makar, Taves, Gerard, really every one of their D, Byram. You want to hit them and then be the first guy going back. You can't let their D get up into the play and join the rush because they're just too good. They're fast. They're mobile. So you have to hit them, pin them on the boards, stop the play. And if the puck goes the other way, you have to beat that guy back. You have to have body position getting back. And then if you do get control after you make that hit, and there was a couple shifts the other night that it did work, they need to beat those guys to the net. If we got possession, let's get it to the net, and I'm going to beat that guy to the net, and I'm going to be first on the rebound. And so I think just body position all over the ice. I'd love to show you. I'd love to take you guys out and throw you on the glass and then beat you back to the net just to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I think it may be oversimplified in the game, but it's what works.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
He's
question
thrown
about
me into the glass before,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that has happened. And an elevator.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah, you know what it's like, Chase. You know what it's like, Chase. You got to feel it. You got to get.
It's something.
You got to get thrown in the glass and know how to deal with it.
That's right. Certainly going to be an important night. Yes, it's the teacher, the mentor, Hal Gill, here on the program. Going to be an important night for response for the Predators tonight. Hal, appreciate you joining us this morning. Have fun in Denver today, and we'll catch you tonight on the call for Game 2.
Guys, enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully the Preds come out guns blazing. I think we're going to see that. It's going to be fun.
Going to be fun indeed. Hal Gill, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, joins us every Thursday morning at 9:30. We'll take your thoughts on the Predators on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025 The Game.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be developing this afternoon, evening, and overnight, some of which will be strong to severe, so stay weather aware.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
2 locations to serve you, Columbia Kubota or Franklin Kubota. Visit them online at ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com.
It's not too late. Make this the best Mother's Day yet with the perfect gift from Electronic Express. Great deals on top brands like Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, Sony, Cuisinart, Dyson, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. Computers, 4K TVs, appliances, housewares, furniture, and more. Save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy high, rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, new bathroom, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it and got $200,000 out. They added new hardwoods, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa, and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover, and do it now. You can even skip your next house payment in the process. Call now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Daunic.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Preds fans, you can watch tonight's playoff action in Cool Springs at Huckleberry Brewery on Fraser Drive next to Sperry's. It's the 102.5 The Game watch party, and while you're there, register to win tickets to the Preds game versus the Avalanche coming up in Game 3 at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Chase McCabe, Michelle Knezevich here with you on this Thursday morning. Chase will be with me tomorrow as well in place of Joe Rexrode. Chase is laughing. I can't tell if it's at me or if it's at someone else.
I gotta thank Jeremy Kigover for tweeting out the video of Skillsy at the Winter Classic, just planting me right into the boards.
Yes,
while I'm on the air.
Hey,
I need to see this.
Oh, it's good. He just tweeted it at us.
Well, as we know, Skillsy is a teacher here on this program, and sometimes you just got to demonstrate some stuff.
Well, early on in Hal's tenure here, like I'd gotten to know him a little bit. We're getting on the elevator to go downstairs after morning skate. I want to say you were on this elevator, and Hal comes running in full speed ahead and just checks me right into the back of the elevator. I thought he was going to knock the thing off its track. But I was like, damn, Skillsy.
It's like, you do realize you used to play in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
For over 1,000 games.
He's like, you're fine, as I'm like my shoulders just hanging.
Yeah, going to be an interesting one tonight in Game 2. Look, I said this earlier. This is not really stepping out on much of a limb. I think you're going to see a way better effort from the Predators tonight. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to manifest itself into a win. I will say, we started the show this way. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I think it's really easy to overreact in Game 1. We saw, the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 1 just got annihilated by Toronto. The Blues beat the Wild 4-0, and the Kings beat the Oilers. And then you turn around in Game 2 of those series yesterday. The Lightning win. The Wild dominate 6-2 yesterday. And Edmonton destroyed L.A. 6-0. So things can change very quickly from game to game. Now, having said that, you're probably not going to find a bigger underdog in these playoffs than the Predators are against Colorado. So you can have a much better effort tonight and still get beat, because I think it's pretty clear that Colorado is the better team in this series. But if you're the Predators, what I want to see tonight is just put up a fight. Like, they didn't put up any of a fight in Game 1. And I think if you can get Colorado playing the way that you want to play the game, you can have success against this team. And there was no semblance of that the other night. If it plays out that way, and final score being whatever it is, but if it plays out that way again tonight, and there's not much more of a fight from the Predators, and they can't sustain any zone time, and they don't commit to defending better, I'm going to be pretty disappointed coming in here tomorrow in Game 2's reaction.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I mean, even if, like, you need a win, you really do. Like, you need to win this game tonight if you're the Predators. But even if they don't, and it's close, it's a 1-goal game, and they're in it till the end and putting up a fight, then I can at least give you that. There are no moral victories, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Sure. But I can at least go, okay, I just think Colorado is the better team. That's just, which we knew that going in. So there, like you said, there just needs to be that fight and that effort. My question is, what does the lineup look like tonight?
Yep.
I think we both agree that it's going to be Connor Ingram. Now, he could decide to go back to Riddick, but for him to say I need to sleep on it makes me think that he's made the decision that he's probably going to go to the rookie and see what he has there.
Well, I'll say this. If he goes Riddick tonight and Riddick gets lit up again, he's going to get crushed.
He is, and he deserves it, to be honest with you. So I think they go Connor Ingram tonight. What other lineup changes do we think are going to happen? Because I could see Olivier coming out. Does that mean that Tolvanen goes in, or does he give Matt Luff a shot to try and still add a little more grit? Personally, I would put Tolvanen in, see what you got. He's sat out some here lately. That's kind of become a consistent thing. So does that fire him up a little bit and light something under him? I would see what you have there.
I'd put Tolvanen in there tonight, and not only would I put him in, I'd put him on a line with Johansson. I've said it until I'm blue in the face. You can try to make Luke Kunin the top 6 forward if you want to. He's not. He's not a top 6 forward. And they got to quit trying to force that square peg into a round hole. I think Luke Cunnin's a good player. I think in an ideal scenario, he's a third-line player. But the Predators' third line is what it is, and they've been very hesitant to break that up with the Sissons line. So I'd put Tolvanen back in there. I'd put him in the top 6 with Johansson, and maybe it doesn't make a big difference. It's not made a big difference for Tolvanen all season long, but at least then you have the threat to score. Like, I just don't feel like at this point, this is a Matthew Olivier type series. If it was Calgary, I'd probably feel differently about that. But I think this is one where Tolvanen's been a healthy scratch. I think at this point it's 3 out of the last 4 games he's been a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Put him in there tonight. See what he can do.
Yeah. I mean, you got nothing to lose at this point. And that honestly has to be the kind of the mentality is you have what analogy you want to use. You're playing with house money. You got nothing to lose. You just got to go for it. Grip it and rip it, man. Like that's honestly what you have to go.
And there's no reason to be nervous. And I'm not saying the Predators played scared the other night, but it just looked like they were really unsure of themselves. And there's no reason to be that way coming into Game 2. We'll see on that part if it changes tonight. Liam on the text line says, "Great show today, guys. Can barely remember the other guy who's usually there. I think Ingram is great tonight, and we come back here tied up 1-1. So nice dig at Rexrode there. Thank you, Liam. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, and if that happens, then it's a whole new series. And you've accomplished what you needed to do. You only had to win one in Colorado, so you do that.
Yeah. And
then now you just got to take care of business in Nashville. I mean, could you imagine if this thing, if they win tonight and then they win here and it's 3-1 Nashville going back to
it
for Game 5?
It sounds laughable when you lay it out that way because of what happened in Game 1. But it's the Cup playoffs, man. You win tonight, your outlook totally changes as to what the series can be. So we'll see if the Predators have what it takes to get that done. Chaser, I enjoyed it today. Looking forward to this again tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. It'll be fun.
Going to be awesome. You
Bye,
can
Michelle.
catch Chase McCabe tomorrow as well. Darren, Daunic, and Chase is coming up next. They'll look ahead to Game 2 tonight between the Predators and the Avalanche. There will be no Chase McCabe.
It'll be D-Mace
on the program today. You're listening to ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday morning.